We are. We are. I think we're there on some of this stuff. Like when you look at local models and stuff like that, the ability of them to deliver like whatever. I mean, this one, you could have it real time. Yeah. So like if you're attacking in Nioh, it'd be like, you definitely like the Odachi.
Yeah.
I mean,
could see you love the R1s.
You continue to die. What's your problem? Sup, everybody? This is Carrot with ACG, and I'm here with Johnny for the Best Gaming Podcast.
Yo!
Number
572.
572. Sorry, I'm getting confused even more now because I post the reviews to Spotify. But I got it. We got it. Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you very much for sitting down and talking to us. Hopefully you can stop playing Nioh for just a couple mementos. Just a couple moments to sit down and talk about games. What's up, everybody?
Happy Nioh Friday.
Sup, Strebin?
Yeah.
I think Nioh, I mean, dude, it's the most played Nioh game in less than 1 hour. I think within 1 hour, it had already beat all other Nioh games, you know. It'll probably beat them combined once people come home because, you know, people are at work right now. They couldn't get the day off, and they're all pissed about it, you know. They're, like, getting ready to go home.
I did take a day off, actually, just to play it a bit more.
Without any spoilers whatsoever, do you have a problem with the first boss like a lot of people are?
No. Okay. The demo boss?
I never did the demo. I did the game.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
I don't know.
So at the end of the demo, you have the first, like, big boss of the game, as far as I know.
I just know that the number of people who were like, holy shit, I don't remember him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so because there's a lot of bosses in the game, I don't like, and they're split. There's like pseudo bosses and then bosses and blah, blah, blah. But I think they're talking about who I think they're talking about. And I guess I sort of scooted him pretty quick, but there's definitely some.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit uneven, but there's definitely some bosses in there that are going to throw people for a loop. So.
Yeah, that boss was fine. I think it took me, 4 attempts. Or something.
Yeah, it didn't take me 4. I think I got that guy in 1, but later there were definitely times where I was like, I wish the music was more dynamic because I'm hearing the same starting. Like, I love the music from Last Samurai, but wanting to hear it start every 3 seconds because I die, not for me, man. It was actually becoming a thing where I was thinking of muting the music, which is definitely not something I normally do.
Their music in general is not super memorable as well.
It isn't until later. And then it gets awesome. But I agree with you. When I was first playing the first 6 or 7 hours of the game, I was like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's pretty good music.
A little bit
generic.
Yeah.
And then it goes full on like Last Samurai orchestral. And I was just like, what's happening? The problem is it just keeps playing that same song, you know? It's like, dude, hey, I like a Guns N' Roses song, too. But if I hear it 1,000 times, I'm gonna be like, dude, let's switch that up. But, so we're gonna talk about Nioh, Switch 2. They announced a bunch of games and I guess the leak last year, I think, when we talked about that I'd heard Indie was coming, and so was for sure Fallout, and that there was a plan at least at one time for Starfield, but it looks like Starfield's CPU requirement is just too high for the Switch because Borderlands 4 also got delayed for the Switch. So 2 games in less than a week got sort of pushed off the Switch release plan, which, I guess that's going to happen. That sucks. But that is one place where the Switch doesn't necessarily have a ton of power, especially unbound. Like if you don't have it docked, I think the Switch is like less than a gigahertz or something. It's, not a fast device when it's in your hand. Let's see, what else are we going to talk about? What is that? Mutagenics we'll talk about, which is the cat roguelike.
I saw someone talking about breeding cats in chat. I had to look that up.
Probably separate from this game. They were just, we've got a lot of unique listeners. They were probably just like, man, I love breeding cats. And somebody's like, funny you mentioned that. There's a cat breeding game. What? I didn't know. Yeah, so, and then a bunch of questions and talk about what we've been playing, talk about what you guys have been playing. It's been a busy week when it comes to like Gennaro news, but were you going to say something?
I was just going to mention the video appears to be unlisted.
Thank you.
I don't know if that's intentional though.
Nope.
Just letting you know.
Yep. Yeah, there's now like 6 places where you have to say where if you're going live.
YouTube streaming, man. Always simple.
Let me change that. What have you been playing though? Nioh?
Yeah, Neo, I clocked in about like 8 hours in the demo itself, doing everything I could, and then
Mm-hmm.
about 3 hours today playing the main game once it opened up.
Hmm.
Having a great time. That was mainly what I was playing outside of like some league and stuff.
Oh, really? Gotcha.
Yeah.
I didn't do the demo because I was, deep mired in the actual game. It was interesting to watch people play the demo and see what they were having issues with or what they liked. Saw a lot of people getting super high level in the demo, which was crazy because they were getting to levels. I was like a half of the level where some of the, how to get to level 805 by just petting cats or whatever the hell was going on there. But there was a lot of people doing some crazy stuff in that demo.
Yeah,
which was
just
great.
milking that demo.
Dude, yeah, it was nuts. What weapons are you like?
So I tried several of them so far. I really like the dual swords for the ninja because it's super fast. I also like the tonfas. It's a little bit like TMNT style. Like that a lot. And the fists have been incredible.
Oh, you go. So you went. That's close. So you went with super.
I've gone pretty
weapons.
close. I like. Yeah, I've been enjoying a close shave there, for sure.
Yeah, it's I really haven't found a weapon that. I mean, there's weapons I don't like, but I haven't found a weapon that doesn't have a lot of skills. I also think that one of the things Nioh 3 does in particular is they sort of know that not everybody wants to do a key pulse in the exact same way all the time. So, like, one of the first things you can find in the game world is the ability to do it on a dodge or a dash. Sorry. So you can key pulse if you dash, which is it really does make the game feel awesome. And then on a stance change and then in the form change. So I think there's 3 adjustments at minimum for the key pulse, which I thought that was a good idea. I don't remember if 2 had those. 2, I key pulse sometimes, but I don't really have like the desire or need to get really good at it. Where with this one, it's pretty needed for some of the enemies. Like they've got a lot of guard. Like there'd be times where, and if you don't have that built up and you hit them and your weapons are bouncing off and you're like, God damn it, so.
And sometimes you don't have the luxury to key pulse because you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
So you do have to dodge. So it's nice having that.
Yeah.
Option.
Yeah. Have you noticed that? So, and we'll talk about this in a second because I truly do believe that Dark Souls games needs a revolution like Dark Souls games gave normal games. I feel we're done. I feel like 3 might be, at least for me, 3 was a good indicator when I played it that the skills that I'd learned had sort of been collapsed into what I was doing in Nioh 3, but that I was reaching a ceiling of new stuff regardless of whatever they switched. And I was like, okay, it needs a revolution. Somebody needs to come forward and be like, we're going to change things in a way that feels like how these changed games. And I don't know how that'll be done. I'm not smart enough. I don't think any developer knows. They'll try it. But I will say that when I was playing, it felt the slickest, I would say, of almost all of them. And I think Samurai and Ninja works really well. I didn't have any issues. I don't know if you did. I don't mind switching. And I don't mind that the weapons are locked because you're switching with one button anyway. So, like, it didn't really get to me. But
yeah, I think Ninja adds a whole new dimension to it because the way you can fight with Ninja is completely different.
Yeah.
So you have basically an extra dash that doesn't cost you stamina or key to use, and you can constantly get behind the enemy, and then when you are behind, you do double damage, right?
Yeah.
It's a very unique style compared to the traditional samurai. You're like facing the boss and you're sometimes deflecting or like pretty much always facing. It's cool to have the 2 play styles, and it's funny how sometimes it felt like one was way more effective than the other.
Yeah.
Maybe just for me and my own play style. But I was fighting this ninja gal in the game. I was getting my ass handed to me in my first attempt. And then I said, let me just switch to samurai. And I had this big hammer I was playing with. And I just bonked her with that. And it was incredibly effective. So it's really cool to have the dichotomy of going, like full ninja to big and slow if you want it.
Yeah, I would say overall, all the weapons also having basically their own deflect skill on the lower left. When you start buying skills, each one of them basically has a adjustment for the deflect, which I thought was pretty cool, because Nodachi has one where you drop the enemy, and it works on bosses, or most bosses if they're bipedal, that, and not a giant. But being able to knock them down was good. I will say though, like I mentioned in the review, the camera, especially in some bosses when they're in a room, is not great. The camera, there are times where you can tell it's trying to transparency the wall, but I don't know if they unloaded the level.
It's having a crack. It's having a crack at it.
It's trying, but man, there were times where, and then because they love their pillars, or 2 or 3 pillars in every single room, you're notoriously going to get stuck on a pillar that the enemy won't get stuck on. That is one thing I noticed with this one, more so than I remember the last ones, that there were a number of player-based penalties in boss areas that did not affect the bosses, which is pretty normal, but it just seemed like it was almost too much. Like it was like, okay, I know I'll get caught, can't move, can't do this, can't do that, but the boss is going to have no issues. Even if they're a small boss, right? They're going to filter through it, or they'll clip, or they'll move in some weird way and get out of it. And
yeah,
that definitely, the camera and that were 2 things that I was like, oh man, again, I think all games where you have a camera should have full transparencies on the locations, so that if you swing that camera and there's a pillar, it can still show you the pillar, but transparency the pillar. And it tries, but there are a lot of times where the camera, did you do close? I did close camera and then medium camera. Far away camera, yeah, I don't know. I just didn't like it as much. Did you just leave it on default?
I haven't moved mine yet, so I'm just playing with the default.
It's closest, yeah. Yeah, close feels the most hard hitting, like the way it feels sort of really works. But what else? Let's see. So for me, it's probably the Dachi. I like giant swords. And low stance. Oh yeah,
some really good poke moves.
They're just fast, man. You just like, even on a low stance, a giant axe is fast, right? So I also like that all the skills that you get, there's almost nothing that's a +5 to anything. It's all +5 to something on the weapon, not in the skill. So when you buy a skill, it's not like you have a +10 to a +2, which is a +3 or whatever. And you're like, dude, that's so much math. Instead, it's like, this is exactly what how it's set up. And I think that was done quite well. Let's see, what else? What did you think of the open field?
I think it works really well for this. I've been having a great time hunting stuff on the map and exploring. Usually not something I do with just going for everything I see, but so far I've been doing that, and it's been a lot of fun. And the fact that it gradually reveals more stuff the more you explore, I thought was an interesting take. But overall seems to flow pretty similar to a normal Nioh mission, except you have more choice on how you want to approach stuff. One thing I noticed is if there is a settlement I have to fight through, for example, I can now actually choose between, do I want front, back, maybe side, or different approach, or maybe like snipe some guys from. Just the choice is much bigger than the missions in Nioh were completely linear, guided. You were going through that funnel. So it felt much more liberating.
Stealth really works in this too. Did you notice that? Stealth is like,
dude, it's great.
I mean, they're pretty blind with stealth. Like, you can get pretty close to somebody with stealth. Now, their friend will call you out if there's 2 guys sitting at a fire, and that'll happen. But stealth overall works quite well in this.
It's so funny actually, because you can approach them, and instead of like getting close to their back to hit the takedown, the attack, you can actually just directly double jump, get a bit closer, and then you can still get in the air. You can get the stealth takedown because you moved closer. I don't know. I'm sure that's intended, but I just found it funny. Like, your stealth approach is a full-on double somersault. Like,
there's basically, I guess you would say, a Dead Rising move in the game too, where you can leap off enemies' heads. So that you can buy for one of the classes, you can buy. I
bought it instantly, by the way. I saw that.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Great.
And it looks so goofy, but it's fun as hell. Yeah, overall, I would say, good game. I don't think I was it's hard to tell. We'll read some of the reviews. It's hard to tell if I was as, I guess, what's the term, like, as hot on it as everybody else. What's up, Asa? But it was still really good. I did feel, and we'll have to see how people feel. There was definitely some huge pacing issues that happened because it isn't linear and it's trying to tell a story. But there's a part in that game where it's like, yeah, so we're ready to go to the next place, and it's 11 boss battles later. And you're like, dude, and it'll be like, you're done. You killed him. And you're like, all right, great. And then you go around a corner, and the way the character's talking to you, you're like, oh, no, you son of a bitch. You are not making me stay here, right? And it's like, we need to go over here to this castle. We need to go to this castle. Now we need to go to this castle. Now we need to go to these caves. And you're like, are you shitting me? Because I was so excited to move forward because it told me I was going to. And I was like, oh, great. So I could sort of come back here, do some exploration, or whatever, or stay here and then go when I want. And it's like, no, that's not happening. No, you're stuck. So it's noticeable, I think, in this game because it is trying to do half and half. It's not doing open world and it's not doing closed off. It's doing that open field, which is exactly what the game is. Weird name, perfect name. Open field is exactly what it is. It's like there's fields that are open. That'll be your biggest open spot. And then the rest is not that. And you're like, okay, you guys did not lie. It is open fields. So I like thought that was cool.
Making it into discrete neighborhoods or areas kind of gives you a bit more structure. So you can say, okay, I've explored what I want from this area. Maybe I got my level 4 exploration. Right. I don't need absolutely everything, and then, okay, I can move to another one. And the fact that it's contained like that actually made it more enticing to me to explore rather than if it was just one big expanse like Horizon or some of those games.
Yeah, so here's some reviews. Game Rant gave it a 9 out of 10, said, with its ninja-style shift system and an open field design, Nioh 3 pushes movement and player freedom further than any entry before. PC Gamer says, Nioh 3 is everything I wanted from a sequel to Nioh 2, and yet somehow so much more. One of the best Souls-like yet. IGN says, Nioh 3 delivers best-in-class combat and revitalizes the established formula, with a fantastic split between Samurai and Ninja. Eurogamer says, innovation is the key KI to success for Team Ninja as Nioh 3 iterates on the formula once more to take an already great Massive Core series to new heights. I would say that one seems to be like iteration. That is how I would say this is. There's no revolution here, which is fine because they didn't say it was going to be a revolution. It is a mixture of Elden Ring and Nioh. You can tell that they saw Elden Ring and maybe Rise of Ronin and were like, okay, these open area games are sort of where people want to go. So let's do that, but let's not go. I mean, can you imagine another open world? If this was open world, I don't know. That would have been tough because I don't know if I want
different ballpark.
Yeah, totally different situation going on there. I don't know if I would have loved that.
I think the way they give you new weapons, by the way, I wanted to ask you if you experimented a lot with different weapons or if you stuck with your guns, with what worked. Because I've just been switching. Every time there's a new decent weapon or maybe a crucible weapon, I'll unlock that.
Here's the thing about the weapons. When you're reviewing, you have to test them all, but at some point you sort of have to pick so you can even get through the game. Like, it can't be, so it's very difficult. So what I usually do is mess around with anything new that's given to me. I usually pick the ones I like and play ones I like. Then I sort of solidify into those. Then new ones are given to me. They're not spoilers, but they're hidden they're blank areas so I don't want to say them, but I mean, it's talked about. You see it in footage, but I'm just not going to say it. But there's a couple weapons there that you get. I messed with those. I messed with double katanas with both characters, or double swords with both. She's got slightly different ones. I would still say I'm always going to be a chain and blade guy. I just like that. So the Nodachi plus that worked quite well because it's pretty rangy, and there's a couple good moves. I don't like any of the glaive kind of stuff. I like it in a D&D character who's a bad guy like a Reaper, but anytime something looks like a giant scythe, I'm just like, yeah, it's probably not for me. It's just not for me. I tried the axe a bunch. I was confused at first, though. When you get an axe and a hammer and all this stuff, and then realize that a lot of the weapons in some of the categories look cosmetically like other weapon classes that aren't in the game.
Yeah. The hammer is an axe.
The hammer is an axe. Dude, to tell you how, I mean, that was to me almost a bug where I was like, why am I? And then I realized it was, I was like, whoa, what? I also thought the crucibles were cool for one particular reason. I don't mind dungeons, but they can get really boring. Nioh's dungeons aren't necessarily stellar, but the carrying of the crucible sickness into the real world, if you take their weapons, was awesome. Because fictionally, the idea of like carrying the spirit weapon that's got its own attack, but now if you're using that and you get hit by an enemy, that's your health bar is going down, and it's not going to go above wherever that damage took off until you purify or whatever. And I was like, okay, that's cool. That was, and it took, instead of just going into a dungeon to grab new weapons, I was going into a dungeon going, all right, if I get a new weapon, there's some positives and negatives. It wasn't just like a plus or a minus. It was like, is this a hard area? Do I want to possibly take these damage hits to the total life bar?
And it subtly not forces, but encourages you to play a decent amount with that weapon to unlock the skill.
Yeah.
From the crucible. So I thought that was smart. Because there's some weapons that, quite honestly, I wouldn't have played. You know, I'm not a big fan of the axe, for example, right? But hey, I found a cool crucible axe that has a cool skill. Let me go ahead and unlock that. I'll get the familiarity.
Yeah, I think when you see those kind of things, it makes sense to test them, but sometimes they're just not going to be for you. You know, sometimes they're just those games. But I just got a warning. Somebody got timed out. Mentions of piracy. Somebody got timed out in chat.
Oh, someone mentioned piracy.
Yeah, they were saying they were going to go pirate something. This thing times them out pretty quick. I was like, why did I get a warning? I thought for a second we got bombed. Find out we're talking about the game, and they're like, you can't talk about the game for another couple days in podcast, which wouldn't surprise me because lately the embargoes have been weird
embargoes.
Yeah, I got a split embargo a couple days ago, and I was just like, no, it's a game I want to cover, but I'm like, nah, too many problems.
Did you find the game easier than Nioh 2 or harder? Were there any big difficulty spikes in your journey?
Yes, but I will say I think I found Nioh 2 easier because it's linear, so it was easier to sort of, there wasn't any, the surprises were ambushes or whatever, but it was like, and the story, even though it wasn't great in Nioh 2, the paciness wasn't there. Where this one, you could extend your time somewhere where you didn't want to just because of the open field kind of gameplay. So there was definitely, there was guys I died a lot to. We're talking tons, and just was like, I just couldn't figure out what it was. And then I, for example, forgot. So when I switched to Samurai, I was usually doing it because I was being attacked in full speed or because I wanted to do more damage. Then I started realizing in one particular boss, I was like, oh, what am I doing? Why am I not switching to Samurai for the one hit that I know is coming, and then switch back to the ninja to do what and I wasn't doing that. I was just not doing it for whatever reason, because I think I liked to stick for a little bit in whatever I switched to. I'm just a little bit more of a fan of like, why would it be there if I can't stay in it? So a little hard-headed. That took me a couple bosses before I was like, oh, I think I'm making it hard on myself. The other one, online was a mess. Now, it got fixed, but it was a mess for a while. And, dude, I wasn't getting any, once again, same thing that happened with Nioh. I wasn't getting any spirits. So I couldn't hire anybody, and I couldn't take on spirits of enemy or of players to get items to sell. So the grinding I had to do was just in the location. Then randomly it just started working, and I was online. I checked. I was like, okay, I'm definitely online. And I wasn't able, I tried to bring multiplayer in for a while, and people just weren't getting that. And then after a while it started working, but by then I was already past the hard parts. But I would say for a lot of people, that's what I've been telling them, is if you see a bunch of red spirits, what are they, remnants in the game? I can't remember. Remnants in the game. They're also remnants in that. Yeah. Your best bet, honestly, if like you're having an issue, is just to fight a bunch of the guys in the local area, because they're going to drop stuff to sell for money anyway, which means you can upgrade something, or you can it'll be a +1 maybe, but you'll get an item. But it was also the place where I started getting a ton of repeated items, which was actually nice because whether it be destroying stuff, whether it be later on at the forge, repeated copies of something are useful. And I wasn't getting that in the normal game because you're fighting so many different enemies and they have different loot tables. And so when I did that, that was hugely helpful. Yeah. Yeah, it was nice. But yeah, there was definitely some skill bumps for me, man. There was a couple times. I mean, I remember one time it was a lot against one enemy, and I put the controller down and I was like, dude, has it happened? Has it happened where I've lost either the desire or the ability to even play a game, and it's that much more like am I doing everything I should be doing? And I felt I was, and then figured out I wasn't, but it was still there was a couple. And then there were bosses that were so easy. I don't want to say the boss. It doesn't even make sense where they are. They should be a pre-tutorial boss. I have no clue. And they're a special boss. Not special like hidden, but they're a normal boss. And I go into an area, they come down, and I'm like, oh. And by the way, they remind me much of a particular boss in number 2 that was really hard for me. So I was like, oh, I'm going to get schooled. I know I'm just going to get so scooped. And it was right after another boss, and I was like, oh my God, another 40 minutes of looking at every single attack and going, okay, nope. It was like instant. It just, I don't even think that character got a hit on me. It was just like, wait, what? What just happened? It was weird. The other thing I don't like in this game, unblockable grabs. Listen.
Dude, okay, can we file a motion to get rid of unblockable grabs?
Bro, there's a boss in the game that I've seen video of that guy grabbing somebody that is a good 2 lengths away from the enemy's hand. It's ridiculous. And they power through anything. See, that's the other thing is even if you're doing a special and you switch to your special guardian spirit form and you're hitting them with a power attack that's devastating, if they're in that move, you can stun them at the starting, but once they sort of get into, I guess I would say the 3/4, the rest of the 3/4, they just, at least for me, weren't getting stunned. And I would see the little jewels around their hand, the little spirit power, and I'd be like, oh, fuck you, man. And oh my God. And there were a couple times where I was by myself saying out loud, again, seriously? And then I found out it really does play different with a Spectre with you or with a friend. So I went into the boss after trying him maybe 15 times by myself. I was like, he's right there. I was getting him down to maybe 2 combos. So I was like, okay, I'm inviting somebody in. Couldn't do that at the time. So I got a Spectre who was way above me, or whatever, a ghost. I can't remember what they're called in this one. They run in with me, and 2 things happened. One, I got a lot of trolls where people were creating Spectres or whatever, but they were removing all their armor and equipment. So they'd appear to be level 65, but they were naked, and they just get scooped instantly. One hit, dead, because the AI ain't great. Maybe the player's good, and they were playing it that way, but it doesn't matter. They got destroyed. But I went in there, and I fought this guy, and he pulled off completely different moves, which then completely confused me because he still attacked me, but because your partner is in there slowing him down at times, their distance is different. And so what I was originally almost being able to beat him by knowing, okay, this guy's going to leap, then he's going to do this. Now
messes up all your
patterns. The timing was all off. Yeah. I really got screwed. That was dumb. I probably shouldn't have. I probably just should have, grabbed a fucking Snickers bar, got unhangry, and played through it and just said screw it. But I was being a little not egotistical, but I was like, I should be able to do this. I should be able.
Yeah, a bit stubborn.
Yeah.
I have that sometimes as well. I have to take breaks, man.
Did you
at some points in these games?
Lucky says, finally have a day off when my favorite series drops. Played a ton last night, about to jump back in. Only thing I'm not loving is the way the yokai summons work. Really?
Okay.
I had no issues with the yokai summons. Wait a minute.
Yeah, I don't use them a ton.
See, I did. Have you faced the bat guys, or the little gremlin dudes that blow the sonic power? Get one of them against a boss, and that works.
Whoa, okay. Yeah, because they just exhaust
and then I got this arrow thing that hits the weak spot of an enemy is all it says. But if you time it right, you can hit him with that, and then as he recovers from your summon, hit him hit them, whoever you're facing, 2 or 3 times with this like dart thing, I guess you'd call it. And then I love the water spell that circles you with globes of water. God damn,
The balls.
that spell. Oh, dude,
Dude, I have that on me
it
the
looks
whole time.
so good.
It's great.
Admittedly,
Yeah.
the game is busy with effects, though. There are many times where I'm like, don't know what's happening, but I can hear my
It's a lot going on.
There's a lot
I was
going
watching
on.
some gameplay on YouTube, and the guy, like, before the fight, he equipped like 5 different talismans, and like
Yeah.
he's got the balls going.
Yeah.
And like couldn't tell what was going on.
Necro says, managed to pull myself away from Nioh 3 for the podcast. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Podcast should be listed now. Thanks for telling us. And then Asa, yes, how you doing, Asa? Asa, if you're still here, are you doing Nioh? And then Necro does back up that you can also double jump to get closer to backstabs. Lefty says, you guys seen anything on War Dogs? Yeah. So War Dogs looks awesome. I saw a trailer, I believe, for that this morning. Actually, yeah. I think that was the first thing I watched this morning was War Dogs, and actually looked fairly fun. It actually looked pretty enjoyable. What else with Nioh?
So I found this thing. I don't know if this bothers you too, but it happens in pretty much every Souls game where you find a tough enemy. So it's maybe a boss, and then there's a bonfire right after. But if you die, you have to do the run up. So I have to now go through the whole area with the basic dudes, throwing stuff at me. So what I ended up doing, assuming there is going to be a bonfire right after the strong guy, I've been just literally running past him, get the bonfire, and then going back. And that has transformed my experience because now there aren't runbacks almost in all cases.
Same. Exact same. Exact same.
Okay. Relatable. Yeah.
So once I realized the praying shrines also activate without praying at them, as in there'll be a place you can teleport to, and they'll.
Oh, good to know.
Yeah, so you don't have to pray. So what I did when there was a boss or there was something that I was like, ooh, this is, I sort of want to come at this from a different direction. I turned the old spirit run on kind of thing, where you're like, you're going super fast, and I ran past like 9 of them. And then would be like, okay, now I can go back. And yeah, so I definitely did exactly what you said. K-Blaze says, what's up, gang? Happy Friday. Playing some Cyberpunk N+. And Liza P.
Nice.
Can't wait to jump into Nioh and Resident Evil. Yeah, Resident Evil is soon. It's crazy. It's a crazy
Dude,
couple weeks.
Yeah. And Marathon, by the way, March 5th, I think.
What game? Oh, yeah.
Marathon. Wow.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I guess I completely consistently think it's delayed again for some reason in my brain. But yeah, that was
Sony said they are pretty confident with it after the play tests.
I feel like they were talking up Concord too. I don't know. I have no real.
Yeah. There's
no real draw to the game. I feel the same way about Marathon that I do about Concord. So if it is fun and is good, then great, and I'll probably play it. But right now, it's like it's so questionable that I just don't know. There's so many issues that have popped up in the past that it's hard to put a lot of emphasis on it. It's more like
hard to be excited. Yeah.
But I'm just in February. I mean, just in February. Like good games we know are probably good versus that one, which seems pretty questionable. But yeah. Yeah, it'll be cool to see like how Requiem does. I think that one will do good. GTA has announced that they're starting their advertising this summer for sure. So that one we'll say is pretty solidified. Also, because companies do talk to each other when they're massive, or they definitely take plans into account. Xbox has stated that they are watching out for winter with some of their games because of GTA. So I think we have enough indications GTA is coming that even
it's going to happen.
Yeah. So we'll have to see. Asa says he's doing coding. Or in code.
No, that's Code Vein. Yeah.
Oh, I thought he meant in coding, like he was coding Python.
But he is like working on a game too, so it could actually be both.
Yeah, might be. Let's see. Connor Carey. What's up? Good evening, lads. Evening. Yeah, I guess it is evening for some. It's 11.
Lads. Good man. He's probably from Britain.
Liverpool, specifically.
Scotland, maybe?
A very small,
Lance?
a very small. I'll be able to guess exactly where it's from. Liverpool. He's on Madison Street. Asa says it's C+ for sure.
Oh, it's not Code Vein. Okay.
It is
It
code,
is C+. It's C#. Yeah.
Let's see. Malad says, finished Dying Light the Beast a couple days ago after around 30 hours. I really loved it. That's a series I just like all the games. Like all of them. I like all the... I like Dead Island, too. I like those. Are you excited for RE9? Yes, sir. I mean, Ireland. Well, all right.
Ireland!
We'll just not go into the accents because that's going to throw me for a loop. But yeah, man.
Yeah, RE9, man. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
I think every game is pretty much a banger. You know, for maybe RE3 remake was a bit questionable because it was so short.
Punching boulders and being in Africa was a weird one for people culturally, but I think that as a game, I don't remember much about that one. I think that's 5. But I would say, yeah, they're all pretty good, even if I'm not a big Resident Evil. I mean, I'm a Resident Evil fan of like some of them, but they're mostly good games.
5 was the co-op one, right?
Yeah.
One that had like an older one with co-op.
Yeah. Yeah, I've liked a lot of them though. Code Veronica, I love. 7, I love.
The remakes have been
all
all of them
other than 3, which was super short.
Yeah, 3 was that short one.
Definitely 3 definitely did not feel like it had the Capcom polish we've seen in a lot of other games. There was something about it that felt weird. Lucky says, need to get my hands on Switchblade ASAP. Bummed it's not available right away, but happy it's at least in the base game. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in that game. I mean, that is one thing. The game is huge. Like, the game is huge.
The amount of content I'm hearing,
it's ridiculous.
That's in the game.
It's ridiculous. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the other reason, Johnny, why I'm not done, but where I feel done. Where I'm like, okay, this is sort of the best combat company. Because I think Nioh 2's combat in particular, Nioh 1's was really good. 2's was amazing. 3, I feel like the best company sort of put their best foot forward there. Elden Ring put its best foot forward. And now I'm ready to see whatever the Switch is. You know, whatever the, like, you know, would I like to see a game with no bonfires that respawn? Yes, I would. Where they change some stuff around. Would I like to see, you know, games that just don't hinge consistently on parry or deflex constantly? Yes, I would. You know, and I don't know what they'll do, but I would like to see somebody try something different just because we have so many examples now. I mean,
yeah.
And this year's not over. I'm sure we still got Lords of the Fallen 2 or whatever coming out. Is there a Berserker or whatever, is that getting a sequel? That Kazan, Berserker of Kazan or whatever?
Not that I know of, but it was quite successful, so I would hope so. You know, one thing about Nioh is that they always talk about New Game Plus as being when it gets good, almost. I've had friends say that the entire first playthrough is like a tutorial, which is ridiculous, by the way, you know.
Well,
you spend 60 hours.
It's not factually true. It might be a tutorial for them, but it's not
for them. Yeah, because you know this friend did like NG plus 3 or 4, and I heard Cowboy talking about the game, and for him, you know, the game really gets good when you get to the end game and you can make all your builds and stuff. That's what he likes doing, right? So the game kind of flourishes at that NG plus level.
Yeah.
But I've never really been that guy. You know, I like to have an organic journey in the game and struggle through it, not be like super overpowered or anything. And then usually I feel like I'm done with the game. I'm not the big guy going for New Game Plus and just crafting, you know, like optimal builds and everything.
Yeah, and I mean, if the game was bad through the normal game, I wouldn't have said buy it. I would have said, don't touch this fucking thing. I would have been like, you have to go through 60 hours
that
of
would
bullshit.
Be a crazy,
but the
a crazy
N+
pitch
game,
to say
like any game of that type. The N plus game is just for grinders. It is a grind style kind of thing. There's nothing wrong with that, but it is factually untrue to say like that, it's all a tutorial or whatever. No, it gets good after 10 hours. No, it's bad for the first 10 hours. Like, let's not try to mince words about it. Like if a game is bad for 10 hours and then gets good, that's fine. But you can't be like, it gets good, because that ignores the fact that the first one's. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is. There's content for people who do want to get in there and play like that, so there isn't a situation where you're just done, which could also be fine too, but people are expecting N plus for those style of games, right?
Yeah.
That's just the way.
Well, I think the positive there is that it works for both types of people.
Yeah.
It's worked for me in the past. I've played it in this way, which is maybe a bit more casual. And then it also works for, build crafters and people who go ham in the end game.
Yeah. I think too, I wanted to play more, replay more. I think with this one, Expeditions is great. Going in with friends would be great. But maybe because there's so many items hidden in the game world and I explored so much, maybe that has caused me to feel like I really got what I wanted. I really feel like I experienced what I wanted. And getting a couple extra hits. Also, if a game is too easy, let's say the N plus game is you roasting people, which I don't believe that's a good N plus game. That would be weird if you were just a god. I would not be interested after like half an hour. That's why I don't do God modes in games. I don't do cheat codes in games ever. Even a game that's been out for like 10 years. It ruins my desire to play if there's no... Because why pull off a hard to pull off skill if there's absolutely no reason? So it's like I do like it. Yeah. Maybe not as hard as Nioh 1 and 2 and 3 and some of these games have been all the time. Maybe there are times where I'm like, it'd be cool if it sort of let up a little bit, but...
Yeah, Nioh does let you become so OP at one point that...
that's what I understand.
You're just juggling bosses.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, I also think that when it comes to those games, it's also just sheer boredom. I'm not going to want to repeat when there's 1,000 games out there. The idea of repeating, even Division, which I enjoy jumping into, we do some high level stuff, but a lot of it is just talking with friends and, doing stuff and not even looking. Like, for example, I have equipment in there that is way higher level that I could equip. And when I go into Division, usually I don't even look at my equipment. I'm just in there to, shoot a couple people, watch a podcast, and then, talk to you guys. So different style of gamer. But yeah, man, it's cool. It's cool to see. I do. I think the ninja and samurai is probably the best part of it, even though I didn't expect that. I think it works quite well. And switching up the stats when you do it is awesome because, like I said, once you realize, I can switch to the samurai just for a couple blocks or whatever, then you can build the samurai even differently than you originally were. Because I know some people who have the samurai basically now as a defensive, not attacking guy. As in, they play with the ninja, and then when there's like a boss coming with a heavy hit or whatever, like something ridiculous, they switch to the samurai just for the defense, and then they switch right back.
Yeah.
Where I don't play that way. Usually both characters have to have a good attack. I will sort of augment for balanced or maybe a little bit more aggressive, where you don't have to do that here. You can just switch instantly, and it switches all your stats right then, which is always so weird if you're running. Man, if you're running in that game, you got a heavy character, and you have a light one, and you're running, and you just notice your key goes to 0. So you'll be running as the ninja. You're just like, and you switch, and the guy's like, oh, and he just gets tired instantly.
You're instantly a fat ass.
Switching back doesn't magically get it back. So it's more about burn versus like getting something back. So that's one of those things. But yeah, it looks like the reviews are good. It's got what has it got? It's got a 93 critics recommend, and it's got a top average of 85%. So not bad at all.
Do you know that meme that says, I think it's Christian Bale, and he's saying he's walking into a boss arena, an Elden Ring boss arena, like walking for the 100th time into a boss without any intention of modifying my strategy. And he's just determined,
I would say I wouldn't do 100, but I'd be close.
But you're a bit more
I'm very,
like that.
Yeah, especially if you can hurt them. If you get smoked, I'll switch. But if I notice that like they're at, like, let's say
It's doable.
It's
playable.
doable. Yeah. When you get somebody that's doable, then I'm like, well, it's doable. So I just need to get better instead of switching to something else. And a lot of times Samurai or any tanky character will confuse your brain if you don't really track that, hey, you may think you're doing a ton of damage, but what if you have a special on the other character that would do a ton, and if you don't switch to them, you won't find that out. So yeah, I guess sort of understanding experimentation is the best idea.
But I think the ninja thing allows you to have much more variety if you are switching between them, because 2 attempts will look very different if, for example, you decided to switch to ninja, use a bit of ninjutsu, maybe space them out a bit versus,
I'll admit,
some good.
What I normally found was that if I barely lived as a samurai, I was not going to live at all as the ninja. But that wasn't always true, but it was a lot of times for me.
Yeah, because you're hard to hit with your dash. It's crazy.
You are, but when they do, it's devastating. And I think my big problem was the unblockable grabs. Well, not they're unblockable, but you can still, there are ways to get away from some of them, but even the normal guys have them. That's the other thing. And if you're in the close camera and you're surrounded by like some spearmen or whatever, you may think, oh, I'm pretty.
And they like to do them when you run out of ki.
Or when you run towards them. Oh my God, dude. I found that out the hard way. I was like, I'm going to sprint towards this guy, slide, hit him with
the guy's just like, okay.
The moment I started to slide, he's like, magic hands, jazz hands, and he just grabbed me. And the guys with the red eyes who are on the ground.
With arms wide open.
Yeah, just like, yeah, exactly. And you're like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Spanky,
great.
Steve, what's up? Thanks for the super chat, dude. Appreciate it. $5 super chat. I just finished Dredge. Fun game. Fantastic soundtrack. Love the piano and cello combo with the cool guitar strums. I love that game.
Yeah. Good game.
Dredge was so fun. Yeah. The old Souls core, this is Lucky, says the old Soul cores could be weaved into combat, but now they're consumables, which is rough, at least in early game. I didn't have too many issues with the cores. Wait a minute. Consumables?
Yeah, you can equip them as like talismans or omnio magic and stuff.
But they stay there. They're not consumed. They're not like gone. You don't have to like rebuild them. They don't recharge like the ninjutsu, but right, but if you pray, they come back.
Yeah.
I don't remember much. I
not
remember.
Fully consumable.
Yeah,
that would suck.
To me, consumable for whatever reason means
it runs out
and it's gone. Yeah, that would have been rough.
Sucked.
That would have been rough. Yeah, I did like the cores and applying them on the yin and yang positions. I thought that was a cool idea. I thought that was good. There's a lot of different steps that you could do, and the Guardian Spirit was fun. Didn't use it much. I mean, I used it when it needed to be done, but I didn't find them that cool. They were just sort of like, okay, I've got a spirit animal, and it raised stats, which was cool. Each one raises different stats. So if you are getting like killed, you can raise one that raises your defense. You'll do less damage, but you won't get hit as much. But
I'm so stingy with that thing. I think I used it a total of like 4 times in my entire time in the.
Oh, really? Do you know what
I just keep saving it? Like I might need it later, you know?
So I did learn a trick for me, which is if I have a bunch of health elixirs and I'm fighting a boss in that game, if I take any damage at the start of the fight, I will probably not use the elixirs at all because I'll know that there's a higher chance of burning those up and having to go sell shit to get new ones. And once I did that, I actually ended up defeating a lot of bosses way faster. So what I would do is I would go in and I would be like, if I get hit, pretty hard at first and I have 8 elixirs or 9 elixirs, because you collect them from the field. Exactly. Or you get them from selling your equipment as boons. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to not do that. That way, if I get lucky, if I'm good enough and I get the guy down to half power, I have 5 or 6 elixirs left, if not more. And then I can do it that way. And once I made that little switch, I was like, all right, well, that actually has worked. And I will say the other thing, I did have some issues where button presses were not being
registered.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely noticed that. I have software that counts my button presses, and there were times where I was looking back at footage, and then you can have this counter that goes up.
Was it with the healing
That's
items?
exactly right. Yeah.
Because specifically with that, I've had tons of issues where I'm spamming the D-pad up,
And
or not
happens.
spamming, but I press it and nothing happens.
Even if you're not moving. Also, I will say this, the red attack on the ground is troublesome because you can't be moving at all. At least for my character, I swear to you, I never once got a hit on the ground if like a normal enemy was on the ground and they had red, if I was moving at all. So I had to do a weird thing where I run up, let my finger off the control pad so that the character fully settled and then hit it. And by then, they're getting up. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, maybe they're out of the... Yeah, I've had that too.
Yeah, that was a little troublesome. But I would say the healing thing definitely seemed weird. At first I thought it was me and it was an animation that
I don't want to have a healing item on that button, personally.
That's smart.
I much prefer the dedicated button, like, like Elden Ring has got the X button. It's just much better to hit in a pinch than like, let me hit D-pad up. And it didn't register it. Fuck me, I guess. Now I'm getting hit and die.
I replaced my Vader 4 Pro with the, I don't know, it's just, my green screen is going to pop up, but let me see if I can get closer. Dude, this is really good at cover. There we go. I'll just put my face in front.
Yeah.
So I got a Vader 5 and it's got pads and shit at the bottom. And I did notice that I hadn't done it, but when you were just talking, I was like, I guess I could have put D-pad up on one of those, because taking your thumb off of a movement or camera stick is always a bitch, right? It's always sort of a pecker to do. And yeah, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, no, it wasn't that. That's what we said earlier. It for sure wasn't the disruption. That's what was weird.
Yeah, and I've heard multiple people complain about that.
Even in the open world when you're running, there's been times where I pressed up and I thought it was my pad. I was like, okay, it's my pad. So there's just something going on in the game. I mean, did it cause a couple deaths? Yeah, but it was very hard to track. And I actually was only able to track it after a ton of footage where I was like, man, this feels...
Because initially I thought
weird.
it was me. My bad. Didn't press it. But
and there could be something in there that's like, so, that's such a little finesse thing because it works 99% of the time. So the 1% it's not, and you may heal a lot, right? Like it's possible. You may heal a lot. So maybe there's something there that is like, just, I don't know, where, there's some hidden little mechanism in there that I didn't understand. But it is weird that multiple people I've talked to have all mentioned the same thing. They're like, have you noticed that and it's not like double tap an elixir. Remember in Black Myth Wukong, the first time you double tap, you're like, this is the greatest day of my life. There was something so great about Black Myth where you're fighting somebody and you're just like, chug, and you chug two of them and you're like, yes. Yeah. I felt, dude, they did such a good job on that, man. Yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's good, man. I'm glad. And it ran really well, actually, for me. 3080 ran it really well. I did have a couple stutters in one open world area that was pretty rough. Crucibles can get a little rough because of special effects. And when I say stutters, it wasn't going below 60. I mean stutters like if you're watching that's why you have to be really clear about like where the stutter occurs. Because if you're getting 120 and it goes to 90, well, I would mention that. But let's say it's 120 and goes to 115. That's one thing. But if it's at 60 and goes to 45 or 50, then that's a whole other ball game. But I was getting the occasional like little like drops in FPS, but overall well performed. The PlayStation though, the demo on the PlayStation, rough, super soft image quality and a lot of weird like frame timing things that were going on in that demo. So hopefully they patch that up. But yeah, man, overall game's doing well. I'm really happy to see it. And I would say for newcomers, I don't know if you want to go buy it because like it's a game about combat.
The demo is still available, right?
Exactly. And I was going to say that the demo's available. I think the demo's, they said they could take it down at any time, but they didn't say they didn't.
Yeah, it's still available.
Yeah. So check out the demo and see, because the demo's quite large.
Yeah. It's plenty of gameplay, I think.
Yeah.
For you to know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, so the Vader 5 is, Jet Black, I guess, got it too. The Vader 5 is the best controller I've had in my life. It beats the Dreamcast Mad Cats. Of course, Dreamcast Mad Cats destroyed your Dreamcast, so hopefully it is better. But that was an amazing controller. But the Vader 5 is legitimately the cheapest amazing controller I've ever seen. I think it was 69 or 79. So it's not near an elite, but it has every single function and programmable buttons on the back and the lowest latency I've seen across the board in a long time. Sticks and buttons. A lot of people focus on the buttons, but stick latency can be a thing if it's in, if it gets pretty high. And this one's like,
does it have the
3
extra
milliseconds.
2 buttons on the?
Yeah. Yep.
Like
it's got
the
6 button face, and then it's got 6 buttons on the face, and it's
Dude,
got,
maybe you can put the healing item on one of
Oh, I
those.
could have put it on anything. It's also got the dials to dial in the stick tension, and then it's got on the back 4 plus 2 down here, and it's got a massive battery.
Sweet.
Massive battery. And I have a 4. And I like the 4, but I was having odd disconnect issues, which I guess is a thing with the 4. I really like the 4, but it was troublesome enough that I was like, man, maybe I'll wait for a firmware. This one has legitimately just been, it's been a godsend. Like, I was playing a game with Solar in the stream, and I was like, Solar, dude, I'm actually physically better at a game. Like, that is ridiculous that I noticed. Because
so just the stick adjustment gives you that much
the speed
accuracy,
and it's the latency in which the sticks move. It's so much faster, and it's got gyro with one button. I don't use gyro, but you just hold a button down, it's instantly the entire system turns to gyro. I'm not a big fan of gyro, but I know some people love that shit. So yeah, exactly. You don't need a Vader 5, just Claude like a real gamer. Yeah, one of my friends plays Claude, and it just looks so uncomfortable, man. I mean, I've tried it. I couldn't say it is.
I mean, I used to do it for Dark Souls. When you needed to sprint and control, you kind of have to.
I'm a huge slider or roller, meaning if it's AB, especially Virtual Fighter and stuff like that, I'll just go slip instead of pick thumb up, hit thumb, pick thumb up, hit thumb. I'll just go bop bop, and that seems to work with most good controllers. Sometimes it's one of those things where it doesn't really work out, but yeah, it's a great controller, man. That stick tension is amazing. I love it. I wish every handheld had stick tension. I mean, I think that's like one of the big improvements in controllers is stick tension and 6 buttons on the face. Let's be honest. I just like having the extra buttons. I wouldn't have them be full action buttons in every game, but like you said, maybe.
But for this type of stuff, dude, that could be a game changer. If you could have a dedicated healing or like pick up item or interact.
Yep.
Because some games have the soft hold instead of press.
Excuse me. Yeah.
For different actions, which I hate. But if you could remap some of that to a button. You
know what else I'm going to tell you? Personally, whoever made the stick press down needs to go to a gulag.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, let's just get rid of that.
But
contingent.
The stick tension means if you have the stick tension high and you press down, you have a far less
it doesn't
chance
just
of moving.
Flop.
Something. Yep.
Yeah.
But I still hate it. Dude.
Me too.
I don't care what anybody says. A stick.
I've completely stopped doing the press, like we talked about. I'm just using the pedals, man.
It kills my soul. It kills my soul whenever the game's like
terrible.
Press down to do blah blah blah. I'm like, no, I will not. I would rather get a USB device where you put like a typer where you have the foot pedals and just press a foot pedal, then fucking push the stick down. I just don't like the way it feels.
No.
Moving on from there, that is Nioh 3. Good game. Seems to be highly enjoyable. Some issues with pacing, but overall, probably one of the top tier, I would say. Yeah. Despite the
I think they've really kind of perfected their formula for a game. Too. They've taken a lot of the pain points people complained about and just turned that into quality of life in this one, but making it a lot easier for you to do whatever you want to do. It's almost like a big sandbox kind of thing, in the sense that you can do whatever you like with your stats, your build, your weapons, and you can switch at any point in time.
And kudos to them for figuring out a way to do Samurai Ninja and have it work, because I think every single person, the locked weapons and Samurai Ninja were everybody's big, like, what the hell? They're removing choice from us. The game should be $12 now. That kind of comment, which I saw a great deal of. And instead, once I did it, I was like, oh, you know what? I actually quite enjoy this. So Jet Black Ninja, $5 super chat, Vader gang. Yeah, I would say Vader is a good. It's nice to see new controllers coming out. I'd love to see these companies like a Microsoft and a Sony offer the bigger batteries and some of these improvements. But moving on from there, that is Nioh. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let's talk about just for a moment. We'll get this out of the way. Crimson Desert. So they've had 2 videos. I have a preview ready. I'll probably post it in, I don't know, a couple days. But they've done combat and they did character, right? Yeah.
Yep.
And dude, kudos, because for the most part, it looks like they fixed combat. I will say
it looked insanely better. I don't know if it's just better footage or what, but
dude, I don't know. But like, it's so funny because I saw somebody just recently posted videos like, you are not ready for Crimson Desert. And I'm like, listen, as far as I know, there's been no Crimson Desert related deaths in the last 10 years. And people went and played the fucking game. You are ready.
People will be okay.
Dude, I hate the pandering shit. I hate that. And so I saw it yesterday. And I was like, fuck you with this. You are not. It's so down talking to gamers, and it makes everybody. You either explode your expectations of a game to some crazy amount, or if you dislike the idea of the game, you start going like, why is everybody so excited about this game? It's like, dude, I wish we'd stop with the clickbait shit, because it's like, it is a game.
It's so unrealistic of an expectation.
They're not even
for you to be like,
they're not even saying it. They're not even saying they're doing it.
Nioh, these action games, like, yeah, I'm ready.
Witcher 3.
I'm ready, dude. Yeah.
Dude, it's not the first game to have forging in their game.
We're ready.
Or fishing. or weird stuff. Like Red Dead's done it. Multiple games have actually done that. I mean, Saints Row, for Christ's sakes, had side stuff. Like, it's so annoying. And instead, what I like about them, they're not the ones saying it. You know, it's like websites.
They've just been pretty.
They're like, here is a combat video. Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's that combat video, I think, generally spoke for itself. It did look a good deal more slick in the combat. It looked definitely also, noticeably slicker.
I hadn't realized how like fantastical, is that the word? It is. Yeah. Like it's not
robots and magic and
swords, robots, magic. Like you have moves. some crazy like. You do a massive spin in the air and you bounce on the floor, do an explosion, and then bounce back up, and you're completely fine. All this type of, a bit more fantastical moves, whereas I expected a bit more grounded, maybe a bit more Witcher-like, having a bit of magic on top of a more grounded thing. But it looked very good, honestly. A lot of options.
Yeah, man.
For combat.
It looks like an open world third-person action game with role-playing elements. We played them before.
But great mobility. Like, you just really mobile.
Right. But
with all the different
we're not
styles.
talking about it being good anymore. I'm trying to get back onto the part to where I wish people would fucking just knock it off with the bloviating shit, is all I'm saying. I'm on that, but no, we'll move on. Yeah, you are right. Yeah, the control and the moving around remind me of Spider-Man at times. So, yeah, we'll have to see, man. It looks good. It looks like it's running fairly well. Overall, it's a game.
Do we know if that was running on PS5 or PC? I don't think I saw.
One video they did said this is PlayStation footage. I don't remember if either one of these have stated what they're on. But my guess is they are on 5090s. Because why not? So it would be quite
That's what
weird.
I would think. Make it look the best
or
you can.
Johnny, what would you do if I worked at a company and I was like, guys, what are we doing? Nobody's got a 5090 and they're not getting a new one. So why don't we say, here is the game, split screen, 2080, and an AMD card, and be like, here is the game on these middle line cards. Now make it clear. Be like, we want to be clear. Because, dude, they've released benchmark videos. Companies have done that before where they've shown footage. I wish they'd just show the trailer and be like, this is the same part of the trailer. This is what you can expect with a 2080. This is what you can expect with like a 4090 and whatever. And be like, dude, this is, I mean, we may have to do this because of the RAM issues and the video cards and all that.
Yeah.
Not we, but game companies who make games. I think if you were open about it, and maybe you'd have to call the video the open truth about our game, or whatever. I don't know. You'd have to do something, but you could. Yeah. I think people would genuinely appreciate it.
Comparison. Yeah, I've never seen that done. but that genuinely does make sense. Because if I'm a consumer and I don't have, a high-end card, I truly am out of luck.
Yeah, you're in a mystery
in terms of
zone,
seeing,
right? You're like,
I'm in a mystery zone.
Maybe it'll work. Yeah. I think that would be cool, especially if they got it running even if you have to turn the special effects down. But if you could say, hey, here's the game, and especially if your game looks great on a high-end card, which is fine, you show the really good-looking one, and then you get people to go, hey, man, that looks amazing on this really good-looking card, looks good on this card. I sort of know where I am, because do you know who they leave it to? Reviewers. And I think I'm the only one I know in my group, at least, who has 3 systems to test it on. And that's 3 out of, 16,000 combinations? Probably. If you consider RAM, video card, CPU, you are probably talking about, and you really are, different speeds of RAM, different video cards. I don't even know the math on that, but it's well over thousands that you could combo and put together and be like, this is with high RAM, but a low video VRAM. This is with high RAM and mid. This is high. This is low high. Yeah.
And most reviewers, they will just say it ran fine on my system, for example.
Yeah.
And they will say I have a 4090, but most reviewers are overrepresenting those high-end cards too, because they tend to have good systems. So
that's why I have 2 systems.
It's hard to.
I've got a system that's dirty. That's what I call it. And I actually capture footage called dirty. That means 3 taskbars.
Actually grimy.
Discord will be running when I record that all the time on purpose. And I won't use it as a representation of the game. I'm using it as a representation of like where performance could be if you've got other things going on. Somebody have 128 gigs of RAM, and you're like, dude, how many people have 128 gigs of RAM? I have one system with 128, one with 32, one with 64. 32 is far more representative of 99%
because let's be honest,
gamers.
How many gamers nowadays have only the game running on their system?
Dude, and don't have a Discord running or recording for their friends on Shadowplay. Yeah. Dude, or you have Explorer open, and it's got 16 gigs of RAM assigned to all your tabs and shit like that because you're on Pornhub.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes I go like, why is my system, just like speeding up on the fans?
Oh, on the fans.
And I see like 20% of my CPU is going to Windows.
You leave like some 4-hour podcast on a YouTube, and you've got it on another screen, and it's not playing. And you're like, I'm sure it's fine. And then you go look inside a system manager, and you're like, whoa, what the fuck? That is not fine. That's like got a bunch of my RAM tied up in that. Eternal says, hopefully we'll be able to do PS5 Pro enhancements better than some of the Unreal 5 games. Yeah, hopefully we see Pro enhancements on any game. That's to me, that's what's tough. But yeah, anyway, so Crimson Desert, it's a game. There's nothing about it that looks even crazy to me. Even back when they were first showing it, there were bugs. I'm like, you can see bugs, little glitches here and there. There's nothing about it. I don't know how that game, I don't even know how that game got into this discussion to where it's like impossible. You look at it and you're like, what about that is impossible?
It's grandiose, right? It's grandiose. And some of the stuff,
it's such a weird discussion.
The more we see, the more doable it looks.
It's a game.
I think it's a video game.
It's a video game. Yeah, such a weird one. But it looks fun, and it could be interesting. I will say the main character in the storyline, originally, I was like, don't know how how is that going to play out? But now the more where you hear that he gets his ass kicked and his friends get scattered to the winds, you have companions that you can play for small amounts of time, do missions as them. Like all that kind of stuff, it became much more interesting. Yeah. I mean, not interesting like it wasn't.
The different races, you can customize the character a lot. And the whole power fantasy of you start as a no one, and then you're getting these powers. And
you can customize. I just want to make sure it's clear. You can't customize Cliff in that way. Just so you know.
Can't you? I thought, because I saw them switch like to an orc and stuff.
That's a companion.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I thought that was the actual character.
Cliff is Cliff. Cliff is.
Oh yeah.
He's right. And as I was joking,
he's your
I joked
crafted
in the preview, but I'm like, he's got some Cliff bars in his backpack. He's your main character, taking in some carbs, doing the main shit. But then you have others that you can get. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
I might sneeze. Apologies.
Go for it.
Anyway, dude, a couple days ago we were all in chat, and I did the thing where the sneeze came instantly. Like, without you know how that it's
no
rare.
warning.
Dude, I think I killed at least 6 people in the Discord. They were like, what the fuck?
People just jumped
and I did
up.
the thing where I'm like trying to cover it was like, oh my God.
But
Yeah,
it still has a way of, because there's so much air pressure.
Yeah.
It just makes it into the mic in the worst way.
Let's see. Black Space is so impressive. Glad to see more. Yeah, Black Space looks good. Nioh 3, A+ in gameplay, C in story and music, like all KO Tecmo. So I would say I agree with you in the music up until something happens. And then I would say the music is great. But again, the dynamic music situation does rear its ugly head. Thank you for the bless you. Yeah, sorry, guys. I don't rarely sneeze, but like I think I don't know if there's dander in the air. I haven't seen even outside if it's raining. Maybe it's super sunny today. My nose has been itching all day. Or maybe I have a cold. Do you get colds much? Because, man, I just don't get them. Then when I do,
very rarely.
I get them
very
from
rarely.
Like when friends bring over kids, or you go somewhere and those little kids have been trading these gauntlets, these UFC fighters of viruses that have climbed to the top of the virus scale. And when you get it, you're like, God damn, I got something.
That thing has been cultivated and iterated.
You know?
Like,
yeah, you're like, this is shit. Yeah. It's like, there's a high chance I'm dying today. Yeah, it's tough. I wish Pearl Abyss the best. Really want Crimson Desert to be well received. Yeah. I want them all to be well received, but I do agree that, like, you know, they've got one game. This is and remember, they showed this originally as like their MMO adjacent, and it got like 5 FPS in their first trailer years ago. Like, and they cored out the multiplayer, and they settled down on this single player, and it looks good.
It is funny how they have Black Desert, their big game, and now this is Crimson Desert.
Yeah,
so it's just a different color.
Is it funny or just confusing?
I hope they have such a good character creator, because Black Desert
no
had an insane
again, Cliff.
Not for Cliff, but like for your.
I don't think
because
so.
you can create your companions. Or no?
I think they're companions. I think they're solidified in the world as your mercenary members. You can adjust skills and put clothes on them, but
having like some ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think you can make a monster. You know,
bitch face.
Oh my God, I made a monster in Nioh, though. Did you see I don't know if you watched the review, but in the review, I talk about making a monster, and one of my guys' eyes is one's down here and one's up here. It was haunting looking. There's no chance I was playing that character. I saw him and I was like, damn, I'm not doing that. Moving on from there, let's shift gears. Baldur's Gate, the show. So this is after the game, not made by Larian at all. Baldur's Gate TV series in the works at HBO. A new Baldur's Gate live-action TV show is being developed by them with The Last of Us co-creator Craig Mazin, who is attached. What do you think of that?
I don't know him, so I don't have any reference points for it. I'm trying to think. The closest thing to that might be like Rings of Power.
Oh, true. Yeah. Yeah, right.
And that
Sword of Truth might be close to it, except that's old. I don't think a lot of people know that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, Shannara. Shannara had 3 seasons. And those weren't terrible. I mean, I liked it because there were a bunch of oddies on it.
Yeah, these are tough to pull off, the epic fantasy stuff. Especially stuff that has a very specific tone, like Lord of the Rings has a very specific tone and writing, right? That's hard to match on on the screen, let's say. I think for Baldur's Gate, it's maybe more doable because they have a lot of cool themes they can explore.
Right.
So they could do something that is loosely set in that world with that whole backdrop, but having way more freedom than something like Rings of Power, for example.
I think we're obviously seeing, the fallout of Fallout, right? It did well. It wasn't Halo. It was good. People were like, let's make some game shows. I don't know if Baldur's Gate, the excitement about Baldur's Gate has anything to do with the world of Baldur's Gate, or much less to do with that than the person who got to play Baldur's Gate and make their own world make their own situations in that particular part of the world and time. So the idea of separating this and being after the show is like, well, who's canon? Didn't they try to tell us? Didn't Larian try to tell us they had 17,000 endings as well? Wasn't that Larian? Who was like, we've got
There was
something
something like that. Yeah.
but let's say there's 19 canon endings. Which one are you going to choose? Then it'll probably fall into the Fallout 2 season problem where they didn't really go with a canon that a lot of people were expecting. They went with their own thing, which, by the way, I was fine with because I don't get caught up in that, but I understand why people do, especially if you're, a diehard fan, you played it recently, what have you. I don't know, man. Like, Baldur's Gates and what do you call it? Icewind Dale. They're some of my favorite games. I love those games, but not really sure what they're going to offer. We'll just, we'll have to see. And it's after that story. So does that indicate we won't get a Baldur's Gate 4? Or at least not from Larian? Or do you just tell a story on the side? I mean, I know Larian's doing their own thing now, but I'm just saying I wonder, how that'll affect future games, if they ever do them.
I mean, it could be as loose as we got some dragons and some mind flayers.
Right. Yeah, true.
And that's, Baldur's Gate. Or it could follow closely some arc. But the game is just way too big to put in a show or a movie, right? If you wanted to get like the let's say the full game.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think it's gonna have to be some type of side story told in that.
Brunch
universe.
with Bob says, I'm happy for the show. My only request is to rely on physical effects instead of too much green screen. It'll probably do Unreal Screen, is my guess, because that's taken the industry by storm, which is using the Unreal digital screens, where they get Unreal, the game engine, and they use this, I guess you call it the cinematography version of it, which is what you saw in Boba Fett. It's what you saw in The Mandalorian, where a lot of those backgrounds were via these LED screens, or sorry, shouldn't have said that, not LED screens. They're a special type of screen. I can't remember which, but they do a pretty good job. They look not real, but they look more real than a green screen. Like, it's, a different medium.
Yeah, I think it's gotten a lot better.
A lot better
now.
But I
to the
agree
point
with what
where
he's saying. You don't want to see a beholder looking like they're pasted on the screen. You know what I mean? And so we'll have to see how that goes. Yeah, true. Yeah, I understand that thought process. Let's see. All right. And then House of the Dead is getting a show.
Right.
Okay, that's what I have to say too. Right.
That's all I got. That could be cool though. I would watch that, definitely.
I mean, it's zombies again, so it would have to do something special, and I don't remember House of the Dead having anything special.
They're gonna find a way of not calling them zombies too.
Oh my god.
Every show.
Reapers, runners. Skidders is from Fallen Skies. Yeah, you are right. You are right. It's definitely going to be something like that. And then moving on from there, Xbox announced new games releasing February 9 through 13. Titles like High on Life 2, Yakuza Kiwami, and Dark Ties, and Relooted, which I don't know what that is, are scheduled for release next week on Xbox platforms and Game Pass. So High on Life 2 on Game Pass, that's pretty sweet. Dude, High on Life 2 is a good game. People love High on Life. And then Dark Ties. Dude, Dark Ties, I want to play the shit out of that because it's a completely different story, completely different character. It's the bad guy doing his own thing. So you have a puzzled look on your face.
I was trying to remember whether or not I played High on Life, and I think I haven't.
Yeah, the shooter.
Yeah, I was trying to because I have these memories, but I did watch some people play quite a bit of it.
I thought maybe it was like immediate poop time or something. You went into a very
it's like,
serious.
Sorry, emergency. Yeah.
Hey, I got a delivery. I'll be back in approximately 6 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, cool. That's awesome. High on Life, man, the number of people I know who just genuinely love that game is really high. They like the humor. They like the shooting. They like the characters. So, and the stuff I saw in the previews looked really good looking. Graphically, phenomenal. So, I mean, a huge step up from the original, which I liked the designs already. So, very cool. Let's see. What else do we got here? Bethesda games on Switch 2 as well. So, Indie, we talked about this a little bit, but Indie, Fallout, and Oblivion, happy to see those be on there. I don't really have much to add. I'm just happy to see them on there. Like, that's
what we wanted for Switch 2, is just being open to all of these third-party games that prior were just too difficult.
People apologizing to me because they called me a liar when I said those were for sure all coming out for the Switch. I will accept your apologies in Bitcoin. even though Bitcoin's low right now. So it'll cost you less, but it'll give me more when it goes up. So I will
maybe
accept
maybe
your
a
apologies.
1% of a Bitcoin.
Dude, 1% it'd still be.
Is it still?
It was 67,000. So it's still $670. Right?
Holy moly. Okay.
Did I just do my math right? I feel like I just did the math wrong. I don't remember.
It would have sucked to have had the Bitcoin and then sold it.
Are you teasing me?
I know you did, I think,
off.
early on.
I sold many thousands of Bitcoins, not many thousands of dollars. I sold many thousand Bitcoins back in the day before it was worth.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Dude.
So did Reg. Both of us. Both of us had Bitcoin when it started and sold it way back then. Remember the guy who got a Bitcoin and traded it for a pizza, a single pizza? And at one point, a single Bitcoin was like 120 grand.
Hope it was a great pizza, bro.
Dude, hope that was a great. It probably was at the time. He probably was like, I didn't work for this. My PC ground away.
At the time, it was a good deal. That's the thing. Hindsight is a bitch, you know?
It always is. Yeah, it always is, for sure. Let's see what else. Question from Cubs. This is on Twitter. Will AI influence dynamically branching dialogue trees in RPGs?
Yeah, that's a really big one.
That is a really big one. It's already being used by people to clean up if they're using like Evernote or any online thing, because it already cleans up dialogue. But I don't know how it would affect dynamic. So see, dynamically branching dialogue probably means dynamic voices, and voices aren't there yet. I don't mean that they're not there for if you hit a button and hit generate and you let it sit. I mean dynamic. Like you say, and it pops up a dynamic question and you give it a dynamic answer. It's not there yet, but yeah, for sure.
No.
Somebody will do it in the future, but not right now. It's going to be a while.
Yeah. Yeah, because it would need to be there for the voice and the writing. So you want the writing to...
local.
Yes.
And
that too.
These systems aren't capable of a local model.
And that's also almost impossible to test too. Because it's going to be emergent. It's going to be just dynamic.
Indie devs will do it first. Somebody, some indie devs are going to get mad I said that, because it'd be like, we'll never use AI. First of all, many are using AI. Let's just move on from that discussion. But whoever does it, I think it won't be like a big company. Somebody will just say, hey, I'm just trying this out. I just think it's a cool idea. Here's a $5 game on itch or something that uses a model to dynamically adjust and, this RPG that you play. That's it. But yeah.
What if you have this big story game, okay? And everything is written by humans the normal way, but there's one character in the game, you don't know which, that all of their lines are generated. First of all, do you think you would tell that, like, wait, something's going on with this one character? And then second, would that be a cool experiment to do or not?
You know me. I love chaos. The experiment? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see that, because I will get caught in the future for sure in music, let's say, where somebody's going to generate something or there'll be a voice and I'll miss it. It's going to happen at some point.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. Like, there's not even a discussion if that's going to happen. It's already happening to people who don't track AI, thinking something's AI, and it's not great now. But in the future, I don't think you would ever want to try to put one over people. Right now, people are very against that kind of thing. I don't think that would be smart for any company to do, to try to change it. But also the voices, no. The voice generation, you would know something was up. You would see your PC climb to 47%, on something. You'd be like, when this guy's talking, this goes way up. If you're talking about using like a voice generator on the side again, and sort of like somehow just adding a character in to see if people notice. How do we know it hasn't been done already? The only reason I know is because there's a scratchiness to some things, but then I've tested some that are not even out yet, especially with one company that's doing some audio testing where you're like, oh, man.
You always remind us that we've had simply some bad voice acting or, or some bad character And,
Yeah.
does it matter if it was generated or if it was written?
Yeah, I mean, dude, there's YouTubers who are AI YouTubers, and we all know they're a VTuber, right? They're anime girl, whatever. But we're getting close with like WAN systems and stuff where that'll be questionable in a couple of years. I wouldn't want to do it because, dude, having consoles can't handle it. You would have to be connected to like a server.
Yeah.
MMO games, I could see doing it though. Like an MMO game with an unlimited Radiant quest kind of thing. Definitely see that.
Yeah.
Next up, Valve. So Valve posted something on Steam. I did not see if this was posted everywhere, but I did see that it was posted on Steam, where they were talking about the release of the frame and the release of the Steam machine and how basically their plan is still to release now, but no dates and no prices. Dude, they're in a tough spot, man.
They are.
So normally I'm like, I don't like any company or love any company, and I'll definitely point out if I dislike.
And you have
something
little
the company
sympathy
does.
for
I have
Valve.
very little sympathy, except here I do have some in a weird way. And the reason why, it's not sympathy, but it's like, damn, you're in a tough spot. And the reason why is it's not a powerful system to begin with. So when you raise the price of a non-powerful system and you require people to buy that system to buy in, which it may not even be as powerful as the system they already have. And now that system is twice as much as they paid for their powerful system, which, by the way, is not crazy to say. You're now looking at a situation that's it's really hard to figure out what you're going to do. Like, I get why they're like, we're looking at prices. We're trying to figure stuff out. I'm sure they're probably looking at some of these uncertified RAM companies, which I would not touch with a 10-foot pole, because especially when you look at RAM, the certification processes that go through them stop some of the bad bins and stop some of the issues with high memory timing. Imagine just throwing some junk RAM into a mass manufactured product, the amount of people coming back and just be like, oh my God, like just absolutely hammering the shit out of it because it's failing when it requires a bunch of its RAM to be used or something. That would suck. So they're going to wait.
Yeah.
I just don't know. What do you wait for? Because the prices seem like they're going up. Right?
Yeah. And first half of 2026 is going by fast,
Yeah. What are we in? February?
February.
6th of February. Yeah. Yeah, man.
They also had a claim. They said, in our quote, in our testing, the majority of Steam titles play great at 4K 60 FPS with FSR on Steam machine. They did say some may need adjustments or different frame rate with VRR.
And they said exactly what the settings were, or they just said they play at 46. Because I can get
4K 60. That's what they said.
That means absolutely nothing. That means what the fuck?
But dude, low settings,
everything low, population at 1, and that's a bullshit. That's bullshit. That's like them saying Steam Deck certified. They're full of shit. Steam Deck certified means it literally boots. Like that is not how that's used anymore. No, I don't, dude. That's like when somebody says all games should be a minimum of 60, and I'm like, a dev can make a game run at 1 FPS by putting too much shit on the screen. Like, come on. You got to talk about the settings. You have to talk about the settings. Otherwise, what you're doing is giving a false signal of security and a false signal of confidence that is a complete lie. Our car can go 120 miles an hour, okay? So you'll hear somebody say our car can go 120 miles an hour. You're like, yeah, downhill in no gear, coasting down Everest.
In a vacuum.
In a fucking vacuum. Yeah. Dude, it's such a bullshit claim. However, I would assume on low, a lot of games, but when somebody says the majority of Steam games, it's impossible for them to test. There's 2,000 games coming out every single month. There's no manpower size that's even close to being able to test those. I'm sure they mean the primary games that ran on Steam Deck. Do you see what I'm saying? So most likely it should have stated the same games that run on Steam Deck run at the majority of games that run on Steam Deck run at 4K 60 on this. I think that's fair to say. That seems fair. But not mentioning settings is bullshit. And by the way, if this was any other company, they'd be flayed for it. But they just get away. If this was any other company that didn't mention settings, come on. We know
Yeah.
they would.
And also, not all games are born equal. You know, it's not the
No,
same to run
not all
Cyberpunk
engines.
in 4K 60.
Right.
Than,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. But still, I really want to see what they release, and I want them to release it more quickly, so that they can get under a certain amount of money, because I've seen people now saying that they're expecting it to be $1,500 or something. And you look at what people have right now, and it probably a lot of gamers, and it probably outperforms that device. And it probably didn't cost that, or it cost that, but that includes a video card that, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot going on here, and all the companies are in the same boat. So I would love to see them get it out as soon as possible and see if they can lock down a RAM price with a legitimate company.
I did hear the first friend unironically say they want to buy the Steam machine, and their use case is they like the sales on Steam, and they own games on Steam they want to play. They have a TV in the living room, but it's too far from the PC, and they want to have a separate place to play games. And so they want this thing to plug it in there and still be in the same ecosystem with their games.
I see nothing wrong with the want. There are other ways that you can do that without any issues whatsoever with the current PC you have. Even if you're not running HDMI, if you go with something like even Moonlight or something at 80
could do some streaming
megs or whatever, you're talking,
but I get the want
milliseconds. I get the
like
want.
you said.
Yeah.
If someone just wants a box to plug in.
I will say this. I don't know why that box would be of a level that they would want. I don't know. But yeah, I get the want. I guess I get the want.
Yeah, I think if you were willing to, if you were willing to get something a bit more advanced, like maybe a mini PC, or something else, you would have more options.
And they're less money
or even
right
better
now,
options.
because they're not flooding their devices are still in the retail channel. So that's why they're still so
they're
cheap.
out there
Yeah.
already.
Well, we'll have to see, man. Good luck to your friend. I don't know. I don't see a desire. Yeah, it's weird, because different PCs, I definitely have seen that desire. I have different TVs, different offices, so I for sure see it. I don't think I would hinge on any one device right now, including a mini PC or a console or anything. I would look at every single device and try to get the best bang for my buck. If it wasn't Valve and it was somebody else, I'd be fine with that too. But I do get that some people are just sort of company fans, and they like that idea. So, and when we look at it, we just don't know. That person's idea can completely drastically be absolutely right if they get this at a price that seems super fair for the current competition that isn't a B-Link or whatever that's in the retail channels. But it wouldn't be fair. If you give above $1,000, I don't even know if you're in the normal consumer right now for a split purchase at $1,000. That's ridiculous. Remember when we used to talk? I think it was when you first started the podcast, but I can't remember. But we used to occasionally mention, like, what's a quick purchase? What's the amount of money that's a I feel comfortable just buying this sort of sight unseen, and it ain't no $1,000. I mean, at least I don't know anybody who's like, it's $1,000. But if you are looking to replace a device, then you start looking at, I would say also, please, guys, don't run out to buy RAM unless you need the RAM. I don't know what's going on, but like the number of people I know,
like the toilet paper all over again.
Oh my God, it is. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah, dude, RAM is the toilet paper of the post-COVID time frame, right?
Yeah.
The water was the other thing, man, where people are like hoarding water, and I mean, not that water is not hyper important. Dogs, animals, yourself, every living thing really generally needs water. But I mean, do you need to fight off Joe Blow, your neighbor, for a 24-pack of Crystal Springs water that was poured out of a well probably right next year's? Dude, big water. Let's talk about it. Big water. Big water is a thing. Big water is probably a bigger thing than big milk. Like, because we always joke about the big milk conspiracy, but big water is like ridiculous. Those guys pouring shit out of like a stream. probably on the downside of a DuPont fucking, factory spraying a bunch of Teflon in it. And they're like, mountain water from Everest. You're like, dude, have you seen
how they always paint it?
I don't want water
they
from
paint
Everest.
it as if it's coming from a mountain
Every
or something.
time.
Like,
It'll
come on,
have
bro.
by the way, I can tell you what it'll be. 3 trees, a rock, and the water next to it. It's such a iconic, like,
from the peaks of the okay. Yeah.
And
sure.
when somebody says like a peak from Everest, there's dead bodies on Everest. I don't want water from Everest, man. Find a mountain that nobody's climbed at least. There's a bunch of dead bodies up there. Moving on from there, speaking of dead bodies, let's talk about this one. So
excellent.
I thought this was crazy, man. This is a Twitter user. His tag is Noriba Manga. And I thought this was interesting. He was talking about working at a video game in Japan and also working on manga in Japan. And he stated that out of this is his talking about the reality of working as an in-house video game illustrator. Now, this is not a jab at AI or a jab at artists, but it's an interesting discussion he has. So this is his quote, out of 100 artists, 98 were there for mass production and copying the 2 lead artists. There were 100 illustrators. There were 2 lead artists among them, and the remaining 89 people were essentially there to mass produce art based on the 2 leads' work. Incidentally, one of the 2 lead artists was freshly graduated and a new hire who only joined the company a few months prior. And he states his exact words were, they were insanely talented. So there's some good there. I love the idea that somebody's that talented that they're like, listen, we were going to give you guys a lead artist job, but this guy came in and he's like a newborn and he's way better than you. So he gets the top lead. But anyway, I thought that was interesting because we talk about copied art and we talk about all this stuff. And I'm not saying humans are better or worse. I'm just literally saying it's interesting because when this popped up, I was like, whoa. We've talked about ArtStation, for instance, prior to AI. You'd go to ArtStation and there would be 900 artists all with the exact same World of Warcraft art. Like every single person, because they were trained to copy. That was how they learned how to draw art. You train to copy, then you put your own spin on it. But he was saying in Japanese dev houses, that was pretty normal. And that was a harsh reality of working there. And I guess it never dawned on me. I mean, but it makes sense, right? What maybe your main guy is drawing the main characters, drawing the starting cell. I don't know much about how those guys do their step-by-step basis when they're making a game and the illustrations, but I thought that was crazy. 98 were there to basically copy and 2 lead artists, and they all just basically were trained on the 2 leads and then illustrate. Now, this is Japan. I know people like to pretend Japan never fires. Complete lie. Japan doesn't do it in the same way, but they absolutely do it 100%. It's a well-known fact that they do. So it was sort of an interesting, I guess, I look into a Japanese house for game development versus Western, which is usually what we get. Or you get the Chinese equivalent of a deep dive into a Chinese development house, but we don't hear much data because they're so closed off in their information. So and that, by the way, if anybody wants to read this, it's, the website is called Automaton-Media. It's a real website, and a lot of it's about hentai, or not hentai, I guess I would say, but about the Japanese Japanese styled video games. So probably your Genshin, I would assume.
Okay, not hentai.
No tentacles going into body orifices, from what I understand.
Right, gotcha.
Yeah,
yeah.
Very interesting.
And that makes a lot of sense, though, because you would want a replicable art style.
You would. Yeah.
At scale.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah.
I mean,
damn. Never dawned on me.
I can't say if this is true for everybody, but about 9 of the creators I know that have editors and people who are doing work for them on YouTube, they're all trained on that person's work to mimic their work if they're not around. So you're like,
right.
Okay, we are sort of already.
If you could be great at drawing, but if your style is Disney, you're not getting hired for
Japanese manga,
God of War.
Yeah, or God of War.
Like,
yeah. Let's see. Question. This is from Telegram. Will DRAM supplies get better in 2026 or 2027? What do you think the major cause is? Well, we know what the major cause is. No build out prior was one of them. AI was the other. And then the fact that I don't think people know this, but Chinese companies have to fulfill Chinese demand for RAM before they're able to sell it out of country. So if, they're supplying Chinese RAM company or Chinese AI companies, your DeepSeeks, your Zway, those kind of companies, they are supplying them. And what happened was we let it go too long. There wasn't a lot of fabs. There were 3. So there you go.
Yeah.
I saw somebody saying it was a conspiracy or whatever. And I was like, no, dude, it was legitimately a worry from manufacturing heads who were talking about this like 10 to 15 years ago. Whenever one company would consolidate with the other, you'd see people going, if we ever have an issue where earthquake, by the way, tsunami, by the way, those kind of things where maybe it hits in a place where it damages those. So yeah, definitely lack of preparation and then a big technical change that nobody expected, which I guess.
But that's weird, right? Because people, I guess, expected it to be a possibility. Like you said, like one fab goes down.
They thought,
and yet we didn't.
Oh, they thought
we weren't proactive about
no, they weren't, because
taking steps.
It was pretty flooded for a while. I mean, remember when RAM was really cheap for a while? Like it was pretty ridiculous how cheap it was getting. Then it would go up, then it would go down, then it would go up. People would be like, oh, it's a little high. Oh, this is great. This is a good deal. Like multiple companies are doing sales, and then it's like boom. And it's almost like adding in. You know how we talked about how cool it is Switch 2 is getting games from everybody because it's one more platform. That is cool. But this is one more platform where it's not cool. Do you see what I'm saying? Like the other platform is AI, which nobody really thought was going to be a thing. And its exact requirement right now, not much anymore. We're getting companies that are figuring out the memory thing very fast, but where they need the memory. And so this is where another platform has come around and bit us in the ass. Where you're just like, damn. But you can't plan for everything. You can't.
Yeah.
Right. It's always easy to be like, oh, I have an issue here, but it's like
we should have known. But again, that's hindsight.
Yeah. What do? Do you plan for the future the entire time and spend billions of dollars or whatever and just sit on it and continue to sell? It's a weird situation that we deal with. But what else we got for news that you got? You had a bunch of news stories. Go for it.
Let's see. We did. I think we hit most of them. Let's see. Go for it. So the new Horizon game was announced, and it's not actually a mobile game, by the way. It's announced for PC and PS5. Not that it can't come out on mobile, maybe it will, but right now it says the announcement is for PS5, PC. And it has a very different look. We were talking about this.
Like an Overwatch look?
Do you mean the look?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that heavily stylized, dialed down detail. Yeah, heavily stylized. It's, I guess, the best way to describe it.
Sponsored by Mountain Dew. Just joking, we're not.
I didn't want to call it Fortnite, but it kind of, gives me that vibe quite a lot. And honestly, I don't know if it's something I would like to play. Just based on the looks. I think the looks were a big part of why I like Horizon.
I mean, dude, it looks so much like Overwatch. My brain thought it was going to be like Overwatch, as in the gameplay. So I need to see what the gameplay actually is. If the gameplay is like Horizon with multiplayer, I would play it. But what it looked like was like, do you remember the free game Dauntless? Do you remember it was?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we played that a couple times in the streams. But it's not just that it looks like that, because Dauntless looked like Overwatch, but there's multiple games that have this art style. It's like 99 companies copying the one company, it's like the Japanese developer said. So yeah, it looks a certain way. It's weird that the mobile game, there was one mobile game that was canceled. I don't know if there's another mobile game. Somebody had stated that one of them was canceled, but I don't follow this very close. But the mobile game I saw looked amazing. Like it looked more
Lucitan
like
in chat said
Horizon.
They announced 2 games, one for mobile and one for PS5.
Yeah, and I
PC.
don't think the mobile one is the one that looked the way the way I saw. But if it is, the mobile game looks more like Horizon would look. So, what does that say? I think it says that they think that currently the Fortnite look is where you might make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right? Isn't that what?
To be fair,
yeah,
that's the revealed preference of a lot of people with Fortnite.
Yep.
So.
Yep. I mean, when you look at it, you're like, it makes financial sense to do that. It doesn't necessarily make sense to me who likes Horizon and the way it looks, but it makes sense to, I mean, I don't think people realize how big Fortnite, they say they realize how big Fortnite is or how big Overwatch can be or was.
But do they really?
And how big Roblox can be. But do they really understand that like Roblox had more people playing it than all Steam games combined? Like it's just, it's nuts.
That is a crazy perspective.
It's a crazy statistic. You're just like, wait, what? So, yeah, I don't know. It didn't interest me, but that's because I'm not interested in a Horizon Zero Dawn multiplayer too much either. When they were originally talking about a Horizon, just like The Last of Us, they were talking about a multiplayer. Neither one of those interested me, regardless of the graphics style. So this one didn't like make me.
That's fair. I think Horizon, a lot of it is the journey. You know, you're by yourself a lot of the time. Well, Aloy talking to herself
a lot
the entire time, but it is the loneliness and going from tribe to tribe, and a lot of that is lost if you're in a co-op party. Just very different.
And for me, Horizon somewhat was about that, but honestly, it was about the art design of the dinosaurs and how futuristic and real they looked. And so when you get a game that isn't that, I mean, I lived through Borderlands looking real. I don't know if you remember that, but Borderlands didn't always look like Borderlands.
Yeah.
So you look at a game like Borderlands that switched and went with something that worked quite well. Those companies, a lot of these people have worked in the industry long enough to remember that day, and they look and they go, we could do Horizon. You have a much higher requirement for your PC or your console to play it. Or we go with what seems to be the smart person's decision, which is to mimic the things doing well. You know, I'm not saying it's what I want. I'm just saying I get it. I see it and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. It's just doesn't make sense for me to play it, but it makes sense as a company to make it, you know. Sully did a super chat. Let's read this up. Okay, here we go. Sullivan. I'm just joking. Solsbine won, but it's Sully in our Discord. $20 super chat, dropping in to support the cause. Just got a Meta Quest 3 for me and the kids. Awesome. Yeah, any must-play game recommendations? Yes. Now, I'm going to say this, but I don't remember if it's MetaQuest compatible. I'm sure it is. Contractors is an amazing shooter. Definitely throw your kids in there. I'm just joking. You wouldn't want your kids to play Contractors. But Contractors is phenomenal. I don't know if Star Wars or Star Trek Bridge Crew is still available. I don't think it is. But if it is, that... Battleship VR, I think is what it's called, or Space Battles VR. It's all these giant ships doing space battles, and it's a blast in VR. What other stuff for meta have we played that have been amazing, or for VR? That's for kids. Rec Room I loved Rec Room, even though it was free, and it was just a goofy ass party game. That game was awesome. Any ones you remember?
For kids, it's tough.
For kids, it's
I haven't
tough,
really.
right?
There was one about a genie that I'm blanking now. Was pretty good, fun VR game.
Like an
Kinda,
Aladdin
Genie VR game. See if I can.
Was a genie in a bottle, and it was Christina Aguilera, and you rubbed her hips to like. Are you sure you're not talking about one of those games?
No.
I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. No? Okay.
I can't find it. Yeah, apparently wasn't a genie. So my bad.
Come on. Just saying it could have been that. Yeah.
It could have gone that way.
It's difficult to like suggest just kid games because a lot of VR was a nerd device at first.
Yeah. Because I played, Fallout and really liked it. I played LA Noire. LA Noire has a good version in VR that I liked, but I don't know if that's
extra cases or whatever. That was the case.
The VR cases.
The VR cases. Yeah, that shit was great. Did they get the
then
same
again,
actor?
Don't know if it's great for kids. Yeah, I believe so.
I mean, it's just the homicide and burn victims division. It's fine for kids.
It's on TV.
Oh, well, lots on TV, dude. I'm watching The Pit, and I'm not throwing a kid into a video game called The Pit at any time soon. Dude, that show showed something yesterday.
I feel like I'm scarred, and I'm like,
I told my
grown
wife.
Person.
I told my wife. We watched an episode yesterday of The Pit, and I was like, I would give anything to have the memory of what I just saw
removed,
deleted.
Yeah.
It was a bad, and it flashed up, and I knew. I watched where it was going. I was like, I don't think. Oh no! And it's so nasty. I love that show though.
Ugh.
Such a great show. Such a great show. They're 14. They'll be fine. He says. Oh well, then, dude. I mean, the Case Files is great.
Case Files is good.
Great. Yeah, Case Files is great. Contractors as a shooter is great. If they do Call of Duty, they'll like that. You know, listen, they're your kids. If my kid was 14, he wanted to play Call of Duty with me around, I would let him. So I'm just going to talk from if I had a kid. I mean,
dude, 14. I mean, kids are watching like Basic Instinct and stuff. At least I was.
Dude, at 14, you were watching. So listen to this. I was probably 15, but my parents took me to, goddamn, what did we go to? We went to one that was a lot of, it wasn't Basic Instinct, but there was a lot. And I remember just sitting there going, this is vaguely uncomfortable.
Well,
yeah. Yeah, but we had HBO, and so there'd be times where my dad would be like, okay, it's time for you to go to bed. And I'd be like, motherfucker, what are you talking about? It's like 8:30. What do you mean? And then I'd be like, oh, right. Because, HBO would start showing the Skinamax style stuff.
HBO always been into
Showtime,
showing quite a bit of skin.
Yeah. Those late night thriller, they'd be called like thrillers. That's how you knew. So thriller meant something way different back then. Thriller really just meant, yeah.
Damn.
So whenever I'd say thriller, they wouldn't say like erotica thriller. They'd say thriller, and it'd be like, the guy cheats on the girl. With,
I see.
Glenn
that's
Close.
Code.
Yeah, that's
code for the dads.
That's code for
get the
doggy
kids
style.
out. Get the kids out.
Yeah. Who let the kids out? Dad. He's like, just go outside and play for a while. Manny, $10 super chat. What genre or play style do you not get? I don't get people liking to be scared in games. That's completely fair.
Play
style.
I
mean, I don't mind it, but I could definitely see somebody looking at like a horror game and going, why is this person enjoying this? That makes sense. What's a game you don't get? Like, don't get.
I think I don't get the play style around the grind set we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Where people, play a game 2,000 hours looking for like best in slot. I've done that a few times on specific games, and it's been a good experience, but it's not something that I would say I get. I'm not really compelled to do it in general.
MMOs with like big specifics on raids and stuff, I don't get. I'm not a big fan of those. So like, World of Warcraft, you'll have like the 200 people and the Leroy, what are you doing? Game, those kind of things. I'm the guy to show up in whatever I want to wear. And if you don't want me on your team, fine. But like, I'm not the kind of person who's like, everything has to be the exact right thing.
Many friendships were lost on those hardcore
hardcore raid stuff.
And WoW. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if somebody mentions a game in chat, and I would say, other than one example, extraction games are definitely, two examples. Extraction games are probably not for me. But that doesn't mean it won't change, because two of them were for me. You know what I mean? I don't think there's really sports games. Sports games are like rough for me.
Hunt Showdown. So
I like Hunt Showdown. I genuinely enjoyed a lot of time in the old Rainbow Six. What was that called? Like Extract. I think it might have just been called Extraction. It wasn't a great game or anything, but I'm just saying I enjoyed my time with it. It was something slightly different at the time. But there was also the game that you, myself, Azraelin from Twitch, and Takedown played. Do you remember that game? It was the shooter, and we had to help each other. You could drag people, and it was
Oh, yeah.
demons. Do you remember? I don't remember the name of that game, man, but I definitely remember enjoying the shit. But I enjoyed it because you guys were there. You know, I mean, it was a genuinely
That's
fun
a big
shooter,
part of it.
But they had the giraffe bad guy. I don't know if you remember, but there was like an alien that had a tall head, and he would pick us up and drag us and be like, "The giraffe got me. The giraffe." That was fun. That was
what
fun.
game was that? Yeah, I don't remember.
Was Blood in the name? It wasn't. It wasn't Back for Blood, but I feel like, and Azraelin played like 3 or 4 days with me. We played.
It's not World War Z, maybe?
No, it's not World War Z. It wasn't zombies. It was like, because I remember there was like spectral.
Yeah, it was like Earth something. It was like
right. It was like
the one we played with Takedown a bit. Like,
was it After Earth? I know that's a movie.
After Earth. Yeah, I think so.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think you got it.
MOBA games for me. Yeah, for me, MOBA games. Yeah, for sure. That's a good point.
I still remember when you watched me play League, and you were like, "Bro, what's even going on? You're just clicking on the same square." Like, it was so funny.
Tough to watch. Yeah, and sports probably. There's some sports games I absolutely really enjoy, like a UFC, but for the most part, sports are not for me. But I love that people like them. See, that's the thing, man. I'll have somebody say, "Oh man, I can't believe EA has to make an NFL game or whatever," and you're like, "Has to or does because a bunch of people buy it and they're enjoying playing that sport." You just don't understand why, but it's like, it seems to me makes a lot of sense. The other question we got, Phil Strider. What's up, Phil from Canada? Strider, I know where you live. Hey dudes. He's calling us both dudes. Are you okay with being called a dude, or do you want me to correct?
I think so.
Grammar? Okay. All right, we're both okay with you calling us dudes. Just always been curious how Carrick handles review schedules. Have you ever gotten a review with less time than you like to fully invest into it? And also, have you ever just had maybe too much time to review it and just sat there waiting for launch in the corner? That's awesome. Just waiting. Just like, man. What's an ideal amount of time for you personally? If you could control when you got the code, wouldn't that be nice? For something as big as Nioh or GTA, I would imagine it could be stressful. Is there anything in recent history you can recall that made you scratch your head that you did nail in time? Cheers, peeps. Enjoy the weekend. Thanks. That's a good question. Seriously, most games have more than enough time. If I had my choice, it would be the amount of time it takes to beat the game plus 20, maybe, so that you could think about it, edit it, in comfort, I guess, because I'm alone. Most people I know are not alone doing reviews. They usually are using an editor from Fiverr or a friend, or they have somebody handling something. Right now, it's just on me. But I would say like the amount of time to beat it plus 20. Also, have you ever had not enough time? Yes. And you can tell because I will do a review impressions or review in progress. And it's pretty rare because if a company announce, even if it's a big game, I just actually got offered a big game with a tight timeline. I was like, no, thanks. No, thanks. I don't want to do that because it works better for me to play it and be done and talk to you guys. If I'm playing it, even if it's a review in progress, then I'm like, how am I going to do? Am I going to do another video? And I know that it works views wise, but it feels gross. It sounds so dumb. Yes. I'm like, oh, I'm doing another video. They might see the same footage. And I bet you nobody would care. And I'm still like, yeah, but I would care. Because like, I like Simon Whistler, the guy, the YouTuber. If I see him, and they try to not do it, but if I see him use the same footage in a video 5 years later on a completely different situation, I actually remember that. I'll be like,
I saw that, Simon.
Simon. I fucking see you. Yeah, it's just so dumb. That's a hang up on my part because it would be much more efficient for me to not worry about it. I don't even like doing previews. I mean, I do because you get some good videos. What I mean is like when you get the game early and if you're just doing a preview, you're giving them information, that's one thing. But I'm not a huge fan of doing previews because I feel like it's regurgitated territory. And then if you're trying to like say something and then you have to think, did I say this in the preview? Did I have the same issue in the preview? Now I got to go study my own video and listen to my voice, which I hate. Oh, it's gross. Yeah, I don't like it. Do you have advice for upcoming YouTubers? I made my first video on Crimson Desert. Would like some advice. Yeah, sure. Dude, I can't believe this hasn't been done. I cannot believe it. The number of people who make a YouTube channel without a guidelines document is fucking mind-blowing. So decide what your rules are and what you won't break and what you want to do. If you want to do sponsored, write it down. I'm okay with sponsored. And how am I going to do it? That way, your videos are the same for years. But make a guidelines document, what rules you have and what things you want to do. Test how long it takes you to do games. Go back and look at how long so that you can identify that. Also, be prepared for difficulty. It's hard for newcomers right now. There's so much AI that is eating up my time. I'll listen to a video like, well, I won't listen to an AI narrated video. I guess I should take that back. But I'll listen to a video that I know is sort of mass produced and it's eating time. That is time I'm not watching something somebody else made, or listening to music late at night. That's a 10-hour stream. It's not AI that I can tell right now, but it's 10 hours of techno music or 10 hours of the wind blowing to go to sleep. That is eating up time that I could be watching a person. And I can't be the only one doing that. I mean, I know I'm not the only one doing it. You know, we're all,
absolutely.
There's a lot of chaff. So, and I would say also, if it becomes unfun, leave.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Right.
Because you need a lot of consistency to ever get anywhere.
Why would
Even
you
if
kill
one of your
hobby,
videos pops up.
If you enjoy games and you start to not like it, man, leave. Just leave. I will quit tomorrow if I stop. I like games more now. Like, I just in chat yesterday and somebody's like, holy shit, man, you seem like you are way, like, somehow you're more excited about games after 10 years. And I'm like, I am, for sure. I fixed some stuff, made myself more efficient, planned some stuff around it. If that ever goes away, I quit. I will just walk away tomorrow. I will figure something else out. I'll live off my wife, never shower, just sit, do nothing for a couple months. I don't know. But why destroy the one thing you love? Love. Like that, it seems, that's why I'm always nervous when somebody says, I love games, I want to cover them. And I'm like, do you? Do you?
Right.
Because, dude, it's like you're becoming analytical.
So it's like, if you're going to make burgers for a living, make sure you have a good system to still like burgers.
Yes. Yeah. It's the most important thing ever. Can you imagine if you do, and we know it, you can hear that people don't like or are burned out.
I think I hear it in some
hear
people.
It.
Yeah,
you hear it.
That it's become a complete chore.
Yeah, it's become a chore, or it's become manufactured like burgers, you know, without the desire to eat a burger.
It's now a pipeline rather than something organic.
Rogerio says, damn, AI content's awful everywhere. Sometimes I'll listen to something for quite a while before figuring it out.
You know what pisses me off? When I click like one of these bonfire videos, because I like to read having like one of these bonfire videos in the background, and it's not a real bonfire. And I can tell because you start to look at the fire and it's doing fucky things.
Yeah.
And like, you know, the background will be repeated or whatever. You just more and more of that now.
Yeah, it's and dude, I got to shout out some people who are amazing creators. And if you haven't seen them and you may not like what I like, that is completely fair. But when I find a creator, I don't get this way when I see a TV show either. I'll have people say, oh man, I'm worried. I think I like Supernatural. There's 15 seasons. And I'm like, dude, how could you have it so backwards? How could you ever look at something and say, oh my God, I love something. There's too much of it. It's like, you don't have to watch it. It's bingeable. You can stop watching whenever. But when I see Simon Whistler, who does the Today I Learned and all that stuff, when I see a new video from him, I don't even understand how he's kept a pretty high level of content at such a long fucking period of time. Or Kyle
that dude
Hill
has churned content.
And yes, I know he's very open. It's like, this guy writes this, this guy writes this, I write this, I add my thing in.
They have a full team.
It's one of the best things ever to wake up in the morning and go, I can put it on while I'm talking to you guys when I'm getting ready to cover a game. I won't play it while I'm playing a game. That's not fair to the game. But dude, it's so exciting for me to find something I love a bunch of. I found a show recently that had 4 seasons, and I've heard people bitch about 4 seasons. They're like, oh, I found this show, came out in 2019, it's got 4 seasons. I don't know if I want to put the investment in. I'm like, there's no investment. That I don't understand. It's literally there. If it's free and you're already paying for Netflix or whatever, and it's fucking there, that's not an investment. It doesn't even make sense to pretend it's an investment. That is an opportunity. And an opportunity can be separate from an investment. And they should be considered as 2 separate things until they merge. It is okay to just try something. And if you like it and you're getting pleasure from it and you're enjoying it and it's making you a happier person.
Yeah, it's very little downside, right?
Yeah, it's
not like, sure, you can invest a bit of time. But the upside is you found this amazing show, maybe, that, it's 15 seasons for you to enjoy. Great. Dude, there's nothing bad about that.
There's not only nothing bad, it's like that's the most exciting goddamn thing in the world to know you have something you like. Dude, imagine, when you were a kid, did you ever have when you were a kid? I mean, I know you and I aren't necessarily big social, oh, there's a birthday party. But let's say the weekend was coming and there was a movie coming out. Did you ever really as a kid go, oh man, that's an investment. I don't know if I want to stop sucking my thumb and flipping my belly button. I should, that's an investment to go see this movie. I don't know. It's like, dude, no.
No, definitely.
Treat it as an adult the same way.
To be fair, I do view some stuff as a cost of opportunity now, especially some games where if I'm not having a lot of fun in the game, I'll be happy to drop it if I have to, because there is a cost of opportunity there where I can play another game that maybe will excite me more. I think there I get it.
I should be clear. I was not talking about a game because that's $60.
Yeah, because that's different. Like in the space of shows.
Not what we're talking about.
If you're going to sit down. Yeah, because a lot of time for me, for example, I'm going to sit down to have some dinner. I like to watch something while I'm having dinner.
Yeah.
That's just going to happen. So, yeah, I guess it's an investment what I choose to watch, but it's actually pretty low cost for me to say, and I've been doing this, like, I'm just going to put like episode 1 of this show. It just looked kind of good. Or maybe there's one actor that I like in it,
Interesting.
And I'll have a crack.
So
and then see.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, that's it. Just see if it goes somewhere. No, maybe I'll keep with it or move on to another one.
I've never once in my life thought that a show that I was going to watch at lunch was an investment. It's never it's been an opportunity. Now, I don't know if that'll change, but maybe our words mean somewhat the same thing. But when I sit down to meal, first of all, I won't eat something or I won't watch a gross show when I'm eating. There are certain shows like
not the Pit.
Not the Pit.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe not Brooklyn. Spartacus.
Not Spartacus.
Way too many hanging.
Yeah. Way too many hanging dongs in Spartacus to be eating. Eating your hot dogs, eating your bratwurst, chopping hot dogs in half while you're watching Spartacus. But I've never once considered anything I can turn off and whatever is as an investment. I consider it as an opportunity. And then if I like it, it's not even an opportunity. It's like a treat. It's like, I guess that's just difference in time and people. But yeah, for whatever reason, I've always been, but I'm pretty I get into shows too. So I get excited about watching, a show that I enjoy. I'm like, dude, that is awesome. I'm so excited to find. I was so excited when I found that show I told you about, the startup show.
Yeah.
I was so excited to find, dude, and I mean like a kid. Like my wife would come home and I'd be like, dude, fucking you ready, man? Grab your stuff, grab your grub.
Let's go. Let's fucking go.
Cannot wait. And I would be like around between episodes, I'd be like, oh man, but admittedly, maybe I am, just a stupid child.
Well, so, you are driven about stuff, right? I think that's one of the things that you inspire in people. Like obviously people watch your content for a lot of reasons, but one of them I'm sure is because you're passionate about the games, you're excited about the game. Yeah, dude, I got a new game, you get that vibe a little bit.
If that ever falls away, then you can make me quit and just be like, Jeremy, we need to talk.
I suppose people could ask you, how do you get that, though? If they don't have that childlike excitement, it's not really something you can generate if you don't have it, right? You can cultivate it, maybe. Certainly.
Maybe, but why should you?
You can pursue it.
Really? Like for me, I love games. If I didn't, why would I even try to like cultivate that out of a completely separate
not
hobby?
force like one hobby, but try to cultivate stuff.
A friend of mine wraps fishing lures, and there's a name for that particular skill, but he loves doing that, loves it. I would never try to make a channel, even if the channels were hot. I would never, because it wouldn't.
Exactly. You can't do 100 of those.
Oh my God. Yeah, that'd be terrible. People are talking about liking Spartacus and Mindhunters. Yeah, Mindhunters got canceled, which I know a lot of people liked. I enjoyed
it was a good show.
Yeah, I watched it all the way through.
Yeah.
Let's see. What else do we got?
Okay, let me check our list here.
I liked Spartacus a lot. Man, I like that show.
Yeah, I've been watching that new one, The House of Asher.
Have not seen it yet. Is it
not
good?
bad?
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I like that actor.
Definitely.
I loved Asher in the Spartacus.
Worth checking it out.
I'm all for it.
Yeah, he was a slimy POS, but he was great.
I just got done with Falling Skies, and there's a character almost identical to Asher in Falling Skies, and I love that kind of character where good guy, bad guy does good stuff, bad stuff, and you're like that morally conflicted, but still probably more POS than you would want kind of character. Oh, so good. Yeah. I can't wait to watch that.
Sleazebag, but still charismatic. Let's see here. Sony has patented a touchscreen PlayStation controller that lets people choose where to put the buttons. So, did you see this or no?
No, I have no clue.
Okay, I'll put a link to the article in chat if anyone wants to check it out. There are pictures. But imagine the left-hand side, so a bar in the middle where there's nothing, and then left-hand side and right-hand side of your DualShock, just a touch screen. And then you can choose where to place your buttons. And this would be just in the touch screen real estate. You would say, okay, I want my D-pad here, and like drag it to where you want it. And then same with the buttons. Now, obviously, I don't know how this would work for a joystick, but there are no joysticks in the design. It's all about the touch screens. So I think this is the most evil thing that's ever been designed. I wouldn't put my hands on this thing.
I played a couple mobile games where you can move all the controls, and it's still a mobile game, even with haptics and shake. It's screen touch haptics. Where have you ever done that with your Android or your iPhone, where you touch buttons and it goes, it gives a little shake, whatever. No, I don't want that. That's not. I mean, unless it was for a particular type of game, but like let's say for like a God of War or whatever, I would hate it. Wouldn't like it for Diablo style game. Wouldn't like it. I guess an RPG where you're walking around slowly, but if you engage in combat, the very first, you can't feel. So here's what I think could be in the future. Imagine a plastic or a rubber side to each controller, and it uses electric power to raise buttons up. So there's a physical button, like almost like you use piezoelectric, where you can currently turn sunglasses dark with electric current going through them, like your XR glasses. But if you were able to make a tactile button, that would be better even. But if it's just a flat screen, like an LED screen that basically is adjustable, I would rather die. There's just no way.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
It's just horrible.
Yeah. Might as well just say click in your thumbsticks, but they're not real thumbsticks.
Remove all enjoyment from my life.
It's a demon plus a devil. It's just absolutely seems like the worst part of both worlds. I do think I wonder their manufacture would be less, I'm assuming, because you wouldn't have to have super expensive screens, and then also your battery. I don't know how your battery would last. You probably would probably be able to do some battery saving depending on how you lit it up. But yeah, I mean,
so much of our muscle memory is actually the feel of the button.
Physicality of the buttons.
The physicality of pressing it. You just learn in a way that I think you can't with touch screens.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
And we see that with phone games, like you said. It's never great. And they've come a long way. You know, the haptics and stuff, it's better. But it will never be like what it feels like to just press a full button.
I mean, we've already seen the damnation of the PlayStation 5 controller with the stupid-ass touchpad in the center that's just basically eating up a bunch of space, used in 3 games and used in 1 good. It's a terrible idea. And it's not, dude, even the people I know who don't mind the touchpad, I don't think I'm sure there's somebody. You can never say, am I the only one? Because there's somebody out there who has a toe fetish, right? You're never going to be the only one in any way. Somebody's got a PlayStation controller fetish and is masturbating to it. I'm absolutely sure it's happened. It's just billions of people in the world. It's happened. However,
you play the numbers. That's coming
right?
out of the numbers. Yeah.
But even the people I know who don't mind the middle touchpad on the PlayStation controller, I've never heard anybody say I love it. Meaning, like, I love that it's there. They're like, oh, I can use it. It was fun in this game or that game. I think gyro has a higher chance of being successful, and I don't even like gyro, but I mean, I think that has a higher chance. We've seen some people play shooters with gyro. I think gyro is pretty terrible fidelity-wise over long periods of gameplay. It seems to lose its place a lot. It needs like PlayStation GPS for the controller to know exactly where the controller is at all times, and then you could do gyro. But yeah, I don't like it. Ugh. That's terrible, man. Oh, by the way, the Vader 5 has double bumpers. It's got a little baby bumper and then the normal bumper. So it's got 3, which is also pretty cool.
How do you hit that third one?
It's literally
like
where your finger...
Same finger?
Yeah. If you're holding like a bumper, it's just literally right there. It's awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, it's awesome. So it's actually, I forgot, it's got a whole other set of buttons. I'd love to see bumpers be fixed. Bumpers suck, man. They're not really where they are. They're too far up this way towards the face. I think it would be better if they were more where a person, because most people don't play their system like this, aiming. They play it a little bit down in your lap, which means your trigger fingers have a tendency to go back. It'd be
so they're a bit like, too high up.
Yeah, a little too high up for me. I mean, I'm sure some people love them. It's certainly nowhere near as diabolic as this LED. I think maybe Sony patented it because they think it's such a bad idea that if they patent it, nobody can make it. Like, that's what I'm
very
hope.
charitable.
That's
charitable of you.
I'm going with that. I'm going with the fact that Sony just saved their first baby from a flood.
You're taking the mantle of optimist today.
Sony looked at that and was like, whoa, no, you don't.
Let's make them sure that doesn't get created.
Sure, nobody does a completely like front end fake button device, so we're removing it. Yeah.
I saw someone say that they play with 2 fingers.
Yeah.
So they have like 1 finger for the back bumper and then 1 for the front.
I've played like that a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Because that's crazy to me. You're giving away a lot of your grip.
So as long as it's a certain controller that feels comfortable, playing like that, I don't really have any issue with. But if there's 2 back buttons, then you can't do it, obviously. But if you have 1, you can.
Yeah.
I don't love it, but for some games where the bumper is predestined to be a huge use case in that game, then I've definitely switched to that. But I also fire my airsoft gun with my middle finger. I also fire rifles with my middle finger. Yeah. Yeah, it's just sometimes it depends on how your hand fits them.
Sounds wrong, but you have quite a bit of training with your middle finger.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in all honesty, the controllers in general aren't really the worst design. I think the big jumps we're starting to see, which is the flippable controller where you can have like 3 buttons or 2, or you can go digital pad, flip it, analog stick. I think they're onto something, because
I think so.
I think the only thing I don't like, and you just really highlighted how much I dislike it, but taking your left thumb off of a stick to push the directional pad. So, especially for healing or whatever, I think the directional pad and the analog stick is sort of ignoring that humans, luckily don't do that many drugs when they're in, when the child's in the womb, that they don't have that many fingers to do it. If you had 2 thumbs, that would work. But I do think that maybe something there could be done. I like the idea of the flippable. I think Razer does it. Maybe it's Turtle Beach. Somebody does the flippable, and where you can flip the stick. and you can do digital or I like the idea of clicking them out. I've seen ones with removable now. I think that works. Really, I think that idea is pretty intelligent.
I think to me, form factor is the one, because right now all of them have the same footprint, the same size. But let's be honest, we all have different hands. Some of us have big hands, and I would love a chunker of a controller that I can really get my hands around. It sounds completely obscene.
I didn't like the white and black buttons on the Duke controller, the old Xbox one, but I did like the heft of it. I do like a larger controller where it feels like there's not a lot of finesse needed to like hold your fingers perfectly on whatever. It's more of a device. But I get that people don't like it. I mean, I also like the Vader, and it's actually a tiny bit smaller than an Xbox controller. Like, it just feels a little bit. But yeah, I like the idea. By the way, I was showing Johnny something. I don't know if anybody cares. They probably don't. Hopefully my green screen doesn't destroy this, because I already dropped it and broke the last one. But I got, let me see if I'll get in front, this little penis here. But I had it 3D printed from Etsy, and you click it on top of a gamepad. And so you can do fighting games, which sort of worked. But what it really does is it elevates or makes the joystick longer on handhelds. And it actually works quite well. And this was like $1 from Etsy or something crazy. Like, I ordered one just for the hell of it. I was like, oh, because I like attaching shit to my controllers. I like customizing. I have the back buttons for the PlayStation normal that I bought online. Somebody made back, but I love that. I think customizable controllers are the future. But you have to make the basic controller so good that customizing it is because you want to, not because you need to, right? Like Xbox bumpers, they need to be gone. They're done. They're failed. They're a failed experiment. They're a manzine. You don't take a man and an orangutan and try to breed it, right? The idea that bumpers for the Xbox are a thing is horrendous. It's absolutely unacceptable for them to continue to release that device. It is shit. They need to fix the bumpers on the Xbox device. PlayStation's got the touchpad. Xbox has got the shitty bumpers. They need to fix it. Fucking horrendous.
Yeah.
They're shit. Like, they're shit in a way that shitty shit. Like, if you walked into an office and they hadn't been playing games and you're like, here's an Xbox controller, and they pressed a bumper, they'd be like, why is this weird device button on here when no other button in the entire device feels like that? And then you get these guys who make an action game who are like, I got an idea. Let's make the main action button be the bumper. And you're like, seriously? No, because you're going to break those bumper buttons. I mean,
every single other button feels way better, Like the L2, R2, the main like buttons feel fine.
Dude, I wish.
And then this thing,
it feels like it's
this thing is like,
it doesn't even move.
It's terrible. No, there's no throw to it. It's just like.
Yeah, they're terrible. They're terrible. PlayStations are a little better. I still don't like them. There's not a lot of throw, but they are a good.
They're better. They're noticeably
a good deal better. And my Elite controller bumper broke in 1 year. Yeah, no. They if I was designing a controller, in all honesty, it could never be more than $79, no matter what. That's once you charge me more than that, I'm like, that thing better do some housework. But if $79, customizable, I love the idea. It's got to have clicky buttons, not the soft ass membrane stuff, but clicky buttons. And customization is incredibly important. For example, a lot of controllers now have the ability to unscrew the digital pad and replace it with one with raised edges. I don't know why. The Vader's fine, but some controllers you'll get that have flat edges on all the directional pad, and then it's also a bad directional pad. And you'd be like, seriously, guys, at least throw me a bone and raise the edges a little bit so that the up, down, left, right have raised edges. That's normal shit. That's shit from like the Stone Ages. I mean, I don't know why the bumper's on the Xbox controller, because they're that bad. And it's weird to me that I like the controllers a shit ton in all other ways, but the bumpers feel like, I'm not going to say anti-consumer, but they're so bad that it feels like it's it feels like they're made to break ridiculous. On purpose.
And they do, by the way. Not on purpose, but they do fail. They do break a lot. I've had two Elite controllers, the number 1 and number 2, both of them had a problem with the bumper.
Oh, can I
had
also
to
say,
get it replaced.
whatever stupid bastard did this, I'm telling you, they need to go with this other group of people. I've seen controllers with the USB-C on the bottom. And I'm like, dude, my belly button and my package don't power the fucking device. Why do you have because you're going to have to get an adapter no matter what. Otherwise, you got a wire, and you don't want to press a USB-C wire. They're pretty terrible in durability. So you've got this, and if you're laying on your lap, now you've got a USB-C device tickling your nethers for no fucking reason. It's like, why do you not have the USB-C on the top like any other person in the entire universe? It was like something made by Apple. Apple loves to make stuff that absolutely sucks because they understand friction works.
Dude, but their mouse, I think the USB in the mouse is like under.
Yeah, it used to be. I don't know if it is
Isn't that
anymore,
crazy?
But they used to have
I think
some
they
really
fixed
weird
it.
ideas. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So I think making controllers is a good future. I think that that's what you're starting to see is a lot of companies are coming forward going like, stick press in. We're going to make it more tactful and or whatever.
What's it called? The Halo,
the
better.
The hallway.
Hall sticks.
Whatever, yeah. And there's even another one after that's even better. So we're getting
we started to see that. Hopefully that will push the big dogs to also put it in their controllers, because now we're seeing it everywhere.
Yeah, if they don't, that's really weird. If we get another gen of consoles and they don't have a step
up, the Elite 3 or whatever, it's still like the same. Dude.
Elite's such a terrible name. Elite, it's Elite in price. That's it.
It really is. And to be fair, and I know you hate that expression,
I hate it.
But good grips, good feel, more weight than a normal Xbox controller.
For the
feels
Elite.
Great to play on the Elite. Now, are you paying like 5 times more than you should for those things? Yes. It's a hard sell.
Yeah, because they both have tremendously bad things about them. And then the Switch is also super uncomfortable. The
almost
Switch
certainly will break at some point within your 2-year warranty. That, to their credit, they do.
It's basically
replace your
got
controller.
The equivalent durability of the PlayStation 5 and 4's battery, which is shit. Whatever small sweatshop those guys are getting the PlayStation controller batteries from, I wish we would go in there and pay them all to live the rest of their lives happily and nuke the place from orbit, because whatever battery they're using is worse than any battery I've ever seen in my life. That battery will start to give you a warning after you've charged it. It's horrendous, man. It's horrendous. It's so weird, and they've got a lot of vibration. So I'm assuming it's just they skimped.
That's got to be it. And they have the what's it called, the halfway on the R2 buttons where
where they push
the throw.
Back?
Yeah. If you take it all the way, that's one key press. But if you go halfway, that's a different action in some games.
Yeah.
So they have, and they push back too, right? So they have a mechanical thing here that makes it hard for you to press sometimes.
I know they do. Mine are all off.
Force back.
That shit.
You hate it.
Dude, fix your controller and the main stuff before adding something. It's it's just really weird to be like, oh, we know the burger is shit, but those fries are good. And you're like, yeah, but I came here to eat the burger. What the fuck are we doing right now? It's a full dinner. If you're going to sell the combo, make it all be, even if it's all lower quality, but still at an equal quality, I can at least look at Power A. How is Power A at $19? Yes, it's wired. How is that Power A, the 5 Power A's I have that have been thrown across the room, the dogs have tripped on them, pulled the wires out of us, how do those still exist? And my Elite breaks if a dog farts in another room.
You just look at it and it breaks.
It's ridiculous, yeah. But again, Joy-Cons also. Joy-Cons are terrible. Joy-Cons they're uncomfortable too. Handheld devices are notorious for just not, It's weird because they're like, hey, man, you want the most comfortable portable device ever? And you're like, yeah. And they're like, well, we're not giving you that. Oh, okay. Okay. They're like, we're going to charge you premium, but you're for sure not getting that. We're going to give you something that makes it feel like your thumb is trying to become a part of your motherfucking wrist. Because, dude, look at this.
Oh,
I love this
God.
device. The there we go. The G Deck. But look at that.
Yep.
It's down here, and by the time, it's like, who's born with a goddamn thumb in the center of their hand? Nobody. I mean, somebody.
Yeah, they're just fused.
Yeah, somebody. Somebody's born there. Moving on from bitching, let's talk about stuff. Let's talk about stuff that's cool. Do we have any? Do we have any cool stuff? Anybody got cool stuff? Can we possibly lose the bumpers, but have a tiered press for triggers? Does anybody have any? Do we have any other news?
Nintendo Switch sold 17.35 million units.
Switch 2 or Switch 1?
Switch 2. Yeah.
So it's a little. Is it a little lower than the Switch 1's, where the Switch 1 was at its same years of sale? I feel like
okay. So has it been a year now for the Switch 2?
I feel like it's been almost exactly a year. Am I wrong on that? It feels like Switch 2 has been 1 year.
That's what it feels to
Switch
me.
Switch 2 hasn't been a year, has it? I don't think.
No.
Too lazy to look it up because I just don't really care.
So to give some reference, Switch 1 sold approximately 15 million units globally on the first year.
Okay, so it's a little more.
So this is already pretty good. Yeah, let's say it's a bit under a year, somewhere under a year.
Awesome.
Over 17, good number for them. I mean, the Switch was already a blowout success. Is that the term? That sounds wrong in my head now.
No, that's the term. You
blow out.
You blow out your opponent. I mean, it is, it's close.
Yeah.
Damn. Good for them, man. I mean, honestly, good for like. I love the more competition. So the more competition, the better. I haven't found a need for it yet, but I do like a lot of the games on there. And like, if I had the money, I would get one. But it's been pretty tight lately financially for everybody. But also when I look at that, and I'm just like, I just don't think I can swing the need for it right now. But I do. I like the DLSS stuff they've got going on. I like that they're doing improvements to it. Just haven't really got to that point yet.
Yeah, no, I haven't
Very
jived
close,
with it yet.
They say it came out in July, one person says it came out in July, then the other one says it was June. So we are 9 months.
Yeah, we're a bit shy of a year, so yeah, pretty good.
Yeah, especially for a device that didn't really have a ton, at least when it first came out.
No. Well, that's the question. So they have a touch screen, obviously, on Switch 2 and Switch 1. Do you ever use the touch screen on that thing?
Yeah. Yeah, on some games when it's like an inventory.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, usually I'll use the digital pad, but if it's faster or if it's over on the right, and when you go into the menu, the cursor's on the left, I will probably reach and just go click. So, yeah, it's sort of 50-50. If it's split down the center.
I think I played,
right, if that makes sense.
Slay the Spire with touch, and that was pretty great.
That would be pretty great,
just,
yeah.
Yeah, just dragging the
Tresse Brothers
but
guys,
I'm trying to think.
They would do well
outside
on
of that,
a touchpad, I think.
Yeah.
Outside of that,
yeah, outside of that, they don't have specific gestures or things you have to do on the touch screen.
It works
right?
so well that way.
It's just optional.
Yep.
And it works.
I think that's the best. I think that's the best way to do it, is be like, yeah, it's also a touch screen, right? But the game that you're playing doesn't require, and also, let's be honest, soft mouse needs to go. Whoever created the fake virtual mouse in video games, like your Destiny mouse, I don't know who they are, but I don't like that person. They're terrible. But if you have a touch screen and they can be used, that's amazing.
Way, kudos to Nioh 3. It doesn't do that. What you can do it if you want, but you can use just like
I use
directional
the entire time
to move. Yeah. Between, I'm talking about the menu where you get your skills and stuff.
Oh,
you can just
dude. Do you know what I did?
Jump between those.
I hit the X button to see the skill list because I didn't like the virtual mouse. Yeah, if you hit the X button, it lists the skills on the left, and you can just go
I was
up
just
and down.
using the D-pad because it literally just jumps to them without having to
try
drag.
the skills list because I think it's even better.
Okay.
I tried the skills list because once I found it, I mean, it's there. I just wasn't using it. And then once I used it, I was like, oh my God, because it's color coded what you can buy and what you can't buy.
Oh,
so it's onomatopoeia.
That's
it's
good.
like, I can't get that, so I'm not even going to hover over it. Ghost of Yotai. Yeah, I heard that they were satisfied with the sales. It did better than the original Ghost. So yeah, it's good for them. I mean, it's a good game. I really like.
I'm glad it sold more. I mean, it would have been a bummer if it,
Yeah, true. Because it's your sequel. You're hoping more people heard about it and then jumped in.
And as a business, if you're going downward instead of upward, you know, something didn't work out. Remember the Vita? Did you ever have a PS Vita? It had like okay, because it had a touchpad in the back.
Yeah, I remember that.
If you remember.
Mm-hmm.
And like some games had specific gestures you had to do on the back touchpad.
Right.
Like I played a skate game, I forget what the name was, and you would do like flips by doing gestures on the back plate. It was insanely uncomfortable to do.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, so no, I'm really happy they did well. Like for a good game to do well is what you expect and hope, and we've seen many a game not do well. I'm not talking about games you don't like doing well and we can get mad about it, but we're just talking about games that are do well. You do hope that a game that is good, was made well, does well. I mean, that's where you hope your industry is going. So like, I'm very happy for that. And also I just genuinely enjoyed that game. There were some issues with it, but I mean, there's issues with almost every game. But yeah, that was a fun game. Wonder what the total sales are. Did they say for Ghost, the new one?
Let's see if I can find anything.
Half dozen million or something? No, that seems too high for now, for how long it's gone.
I'm seeing here 3.3 million on the first month.
You know what's crazy? That reminds me, Legion sold 3.3 million in the first 3 days, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. And then cratered. So like it didn't meet their internal expectations, but you look at the numbers and you're like, holy shit, I guess that proves that you can sell a ton and just have it die. I mean, admittedly, Valhalla, we talked about this last week or week before. It was a covered up, it was an insanely busy time, but yeah. What are people talking about? The Last of Us? Why are we talking about The Last of Us? The Last of Us 2. How many Last of Us 2s have there been? And Last of Us remakes.
Remake.
Yeah.
Re-release.
Like so many. Let's see. What else do we got? We talked about that. Oh, here we go. A1 Nangle says many larger studios argue that BG3 is financially... What? A1 Nangle says many large studios argue, his words, not mine, that BG3 is financially negligent with the design of BG3. They cite QA nightmares like letting players kill a quest giver, speak to the corpse, and still finish the mission as impossible to scale. Is this level of simulation agency and reactivity a luxury only private studios can afford? Or has the linear RPG model become obsolete? So I've never heard that. Okay. BG3 also has problems too. I think people forget that. So BG3 may have that, but it has other issues, and they chose to make it so you could speak to the corpse and still finish the mission. I don't quite know why people would say something's impossible to scale it. But regardless,
yeah, I think that's very black and white.
That seems like if a larger studio is saying that's impossible to scale, what it actually feels to me is somebody was asked in an interview, like, is your next game going to have it so I can kill a corpse and talk to it? And it's like, well, if the game has talk to corpses as a spell, it would, right? So that's the other thing. It's a D&D game, and D&D, one of D&D's spells is quite literally speak to the dead. But if you're playing a game that doesn't have speak to the dead, then you wouldn't have to worry about scaling it because that actual thing wouldn't happen at all. QA nightmares, I don't know what that means unless they're saying combined. I don't see why BG3 would be impossible for somebody to do because it's been done. It doesn't seem, unless they're saying every game would have to have exactly that, which already, that's not true because fictionally in the game world, it wouldn't make sense for every game to have that. So I feel like a lot of people say stuff in interviews, or somebody tries to set them up in an interview, or somebody doesn't understand that, like, why would Call of Duty have the ability to cast a spell, raise the enemy you just killed from the dead, and talk to him? And you'd be like, because it wouldn't have. What are we talking about? You know, it doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's impossible. I think some RPGs aren't going to want to do that.
I also think I wouldn't
that's
put on them to
ahead,
be
sorry.
negligent. I would just say they designed a game that requires a lot of QA, you know, because they have a massive scope of what they're trying to do. But they've done it in the past. You know, I would argue that Divinity Original Sin 2, for example,
Divine Divinity
is a similar,
did it. Yeah.
or Divine Divinity.
Yeah.
You know, they've demonstrated in the past that they've been able to execute on this.
Yeah.
So clearly it works, let's say. Not that it doesn't have issues, but it's been proven as a business. You know, it's worked several times. So I wouldn't say they're negligent because it worked, right? I think if they had sunk the project because of that, that would be
right
negligence.
But also, sorry, I mean, I don't know. I have no clue what the current gluck is for fucking BG3. And yeah, I said that. But dude, BG3 had
there's quite a bit of that.
FPS issues in the middle and end game. There were issues in the city. They
that
had to
third
do a
act
shit
was
ton of,
rough.
It was rough,
Yeah.
and you had reviewers saying, "Oh, there was no issues with FPS," and I'm like, "Yeah, because you didn't get to that part of the game. Let's just be honest. You saw it on 4090s. It was there. It was there. And so the money wasn't spent in QAing the performance in those areas, where in other games, maybe without the ability to kill a guy, talk to his corpse, fuck a beholder, then maybe their FPS was fine in their later parts of the game, which is where their money was spent. So it doesn't make it's not a zero-sum game, number one, and it's also not a 1 or 0 game either. Games are a lot like soccer or something, where a lot of effort's put in for one small victory, and yet people think everybody wins the game in the exact same way, and that is ridiculous to think of. You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous to assume that everybody's going to go the same way. It's also ridiculous, man, to be like Baldur's Gate was perfect. It absolutely was not perfect, and that's fine. I don't understand. Guys, the developers must have also thought they weren't fine because they patched the shit out of the game. So, like, what are we doing? Like, why are you arguing with the history when you look at the game? You're like, this game's got a bunch of patch notes, 250 bugs in one single patch, 1,000 bugs in a single patch were fixed. How do you say it's perfect? I don't know. That's so weird. I don't know.
So maybe it was a nightmare. It looks like it was very hard. On the QA side,
maybe,
you know?
I mean, it is, but like, it didn't result in a perfect game either. So you can't say one without the other.
Yeah.
You know, it's weird.
But also it worked great. So
what worked great?
The project.
Which
like as just
you mean as
Baldur's Gate 3 as a project, just as a whole, worked out great for them. You know?
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing, is there's this nebulous group of people who played it and had issues with it and still loved it, but they don't seem to speak up at the right time. You know, like for some reason they disappear, and only the people who are like, it was perfect. And the other people who are like, I don't know anybody who says this, but it was terrible. And you look at it and you're like, no, it was a game. And that game did well on some things and had some issues in other places. It's a great game. It's very fun. BG3 still has third chapter FPS issues. Well, that sucks. Yeah, so weird, right? So weird, man. I don't know what to say about that kind of stuff. I'll say, I wouldn't say it's a once in a like even a game generation game, but it is a once. If you like those kind of games, it might be a one in a generation game, meaning that console generation or whatever, you know, in the CRPG realm. That's the other thing we have to add. It's not, you know, you wouldn't say it's a once in a generation game as an FPS shooter. other games exist that are excellent FPSs that you could say are almost perfect. But I think the perfect thing is so weird because, dude, how many times do you play a game and you're like, this is not perfect, but you still love it? You still love it. It's still a great game. Still a great game. Remember when Elden Ring launched with a bunch of technical issues? Yes, I do, because I had to do a video stating I'm changing the review score because that patch sucked balls. 3 games in the history of my release schedule has been insanely confusing. And that is Hunter Simulator 2, right? Hunter, what was that?
Call of the Wild.
No, Hunter Call of the Wild was great. There's a game called Hunter Simulator 2 I reviewed. Way of the Hunter, sorry. That patched on day and date and ruined. It caused a ton of issues. Spider-Man 2 caused a ton of issues on the patch. Enough that Digital Foundry and I was talking to John going, am I going crazy or is this game way worse? After the patches, they had all kinds of bugs. They fixed that. And then Elden Ring. I don't know. Happens.
Yeah. Day one patch was rough.
Dude. It's so rare too to get you get that and you turn it on and you're playing it and you're like, wait, what the hell? Like there's just shit going on out of the blue. It's such a confusing time. It's so rare though. I mean, it is rare.
Yeah, it is.
3 games in total that I can remember. And all 3 games I had to do a video saying I've changed the score I didn't with Spider-Man because Spider-Man, they patched that day. I think Spider-Man, I'm pretty sure I was preparing the video and then Spider-Man patched it and fixed. There was collision issues. People were swinging into buildings. Did you see those videos?
No.
I think Yong Yi did a video where he turned into a plant or something. It was weird shit that was going on. Yeah. It was crazy. Helldivers 2 is one of the buggiest games ever, but I still play it. Is it still buggy? Really? That's too bad. I haven't played that one. What else we got? Anything good and amazing?
Not much on my side, honestly.
Look here. Boom, boom, boom. Let me look on games forums and see if we've missed anything. Mugenics came out, and that one reviewed really well.
So that was like a Cult of the Lamb.
A bit, yeah.
Similar.
In a weird way like that weird discordant, and creepy. There's a lot of weird stuff in that game, yeah. But it seems like it's doing really well. People are digging it. Got good reviews. Kiwami 3 is coming, yeah, true.
Oh, but it doesn't have... Oh, sorry, it's a bit different. It's not like Cult of the Lamb in the gameplay itself. Just the looks of it.
Correct.
Bit.
It's a roguelike with some XCOM battle stuff in it.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay. Yeah, breed your own cats.
Mm-hmm. I did a preview. In the top games of February video, I covered that one because I saw the videos and it was like, holy shit, this is just crazy. It looks awesome. Now I want to play the Dark Ties game. I'm sort of thinking about getting it. I've got games to review, but yeah, I've got games to review, so I probably don't have time. But I sort of want to play that game. The idea of a roguelike and some crazy shit happens with those cats. Probably going to piss off PETA or something. But some nut stuff happens. Dead Space Remake Day 1 patch had a horrible bug that made the graphics pixelated. Took them a few days. Really? All right. Well, there you go. So there's another one. Day 1 patches, man. What else do we got going on? Anything cool? Been reading anything?
Not too much. I was watching some podcasts this week about a little bit of quantum mechanics and interpretations of quantum mechanics and stuff. Have you looked into some of these, like the many worlds interpretation, the Copenhagen?
Yeah, and I've been seeing that now, people are saying that quantum physics is dead and all this stuff. I saw a couple recent videos on that, but yeah, no.
Because they had this whole school of shut up and calculate, which was basically saying we can't really make heads or tails of what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Right? We can just predict, hey, you got this percentage that the electron's going to be there or whatever. But that's always seemed like a cop-out to me. I think part of the job of physics is to also explain what's actually going on. Maybe that's a bit more philosophy tied in. natural philosophy.
Well, like, have you ever heard that the Planck scale, the smallest measurable, or what we see as the measurable scale, if the Earth was expanded to the size of the seeable universe, what we can see, a Planck scale would be the size of a single tree.
Whoa.
And that's not as deep as we need to see stuff. So that was mind-blowing to hear that and be like, okay.
We just don't understand how big or small these numbers are, man.
Micro
when
and
you make these comparisons,
get insane.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Or somebody will say something that always drives me nuts because it doesn't sound too big. They'll be like, that is a 1 followed by 28 zeros. And I'm like, well, that seems doable. I can count to that. Like, as in, I can count 28 zeros. I can go 1, 28 zeros. That's a pretty big number. But then when you find out how big that actual number is, you're like, oh, okay, holy shit. Like some crazy ass. I don't know. I don't worry about it. I love that kind of stuff, but I think we're at the limits of like the ability to even measure without affecting or look without running into a wall. We seem to be like technologically at that, limit.
But it kind of bothers me that the most accepted interpretation is the many worlds interpretation. It's the one that makes most sense to me as well, but it just irks me that we don't have a better interpretation. Because we're saying that what flows from the equation is that at every point in time, we're just branching out universes, and these disconnected universes are going on to live their own separate timeline, and this is just the most wasteful picture you could ever imagine. It's a crazy, like, fractal thing.
And I don't even know if that's the most accepted anymore, because that's died down.
Well, that's what I heard in, I think what Neil deGrasse was talking with Sean Carroll this week. And they said something like that. I know Sean, he's a proponent of many worlds. Yeah, I was going to say, because most of the people I watch are not Sean Carroll, and they're all like the idea of multiple dimensions. You might have heard something else.
Like, has sort of almost died off, like string theory.
I think the jury is not out in either case in terms of, what's the right. Yeah, I guess that's the problem.
Yeah.
Isn't that the problem? That
you run into the impossible measurement problem. Yeah, I think the best thing to do would be like look at all this stuff, and then especially now when they're kiboshing the whole slit experiment now. I don't know if you saw that, but like there's been a bunch of studies saying that the whole reading of the slit experiment with electrons, and they're like, we may, this might not at all be what we thought it was. That came up like less than 2 months ago, where there was a paper written that was sort of kiboshing that too. So it changes every 20, 30 years. It
does. It really does. I think Neil was debunking, or not Neil, or maybe Sean, they were debunking one of these that was a spin-off on the whole,
in all honesty, let's be clear. The more they investigate and look up and down, a astrobiologist, astrophysicist becomes a philosopher. That's the honest truth.
I think so. I think that's where it's going.
Yeah, that is. So you only go to a certain point, and then you're like, the rest is philosophy, which is why this person can say this is what it is, and this person can say this is what it is. And they're both equally right and wrong at the same time, like the cat in the box. That's all it, that at that point, it's just too hard for us to figure out. I do love the idea, though, of trying to figure it out so that it makes tangible effects on humanity. I think sometimes these guys who are really smart get so into the weeds that I'm like, it'd be good if you tried to help out people with solar panels and make them more efficient or something. Like at some point,
that is always,
you're so, you've got all this brain.
That is always the conflict between like applied physics and theoretical.
Yes,
because the theoretical is always, they don't know what it's going to be used for.
Yeah,
they might, like somebody discovered some physics, and then years later, some other people came up with the laser, and that was just like an application of the physics,
Yeah.
You just never know where it's going to go. But I think both are important. Yeah. You need these armchair people too, Sean Carroll's having a crack. Other people are having a crack at what they think makes sense.
I cannot
and they're
get
making
over my dislike
predictions.
for him. I just can't.
I like him. Well,
I know.
he's a bit dry, I admit, but I think has a good way of explaining.
I don't know why. I not only that, but I think I get where you're coming from. And this is a me issue. It has nothing to do with anybody else. I don't know what it is. You get that one scientist guy, or you get a YouTuber, and you're like, I don't like ACG.
Is it the way he talks? Because it is a bit like
the way he talks. It's fundamentally less so now, but for a while he was definitely going a bit more. This is fact. He's like the other guy, the guy who sounds like your dad's cousin. You know, you got the voice like this. He's got the crone nose. Brian, not Brian Cox. I love that guy. The other one, and he does a lot of theoretical. Oh man, I can't remember his name. I don't know why I'm spacing his name. He's the other big name in this, though. He's like
Brian.
Them. It is a Brian, isn't it?
It is.
He's the string theory guy. That's as much as I remember. And he was
string theory guy.
Yeah, he was at some point I was just like, okay, you're sort of, and he still, I think, tries to push the string theory thing a little bit on the side. I liked string theory when I was a kid. I remember I got the Choose Your Own Adventure book, and I got the book on string theory when I was a kid.
Oh yeah,
and it was like two of my favorite books. It was what was it? Aliens,
some light reading.
Yeah, it was aliens helping us build the pyramids in the Choose Your Own Adventure book. And then you went back in time, I believe, and then it was string theory, and I love the idea. I thought string theory was incredible. Even at 10, I was like, and whoever wrote that book, I know the cover in my head too. Like, I bet you could find that book. It was probably one of the preeminent books at the time. That was fantastic.
It was Brian Greene.
Brian Greene, thank you. Yeah, Brian Greene kills me, man.
See, I like Brian Greene.
No, I like him, but he's so far behind now that even other scientists are like, dude, could you like catch up, please? Because he's still trying to figure out 700 ways to make his theory fit. And you're like, dude, I think if like 19 other theories are, theories, right? Theories plus some stuff that we have. But regardless, I like him. Like, I've watched his videos before, but I was saying that he reminds me a little bit of the other guy, where they got a little too caught. Your guy is less so now, though. I think he's a little less.
He's gotten better. Yeah, he does have a way of, sounding like he thinks he's the smartest person in the room.
He probably is. I mean,
it's a bit pedantic. Okay, he probably is, to be fair.
I'm even okay with that. It's just like, if everybody's like, dude, maybe he's the Edward Norton of like Astro. You know where I'm going, right? But I love him too. I mean, he's had great videos. I like them all.
Yeah.
I've watched.
Sean Carroll
good
at explaining this stuff.
I'm never gonna say I dislike somebody without watching a bunch of their stuff. Sean Carroll, I don't dislike as a person, and I like some of his videos. Yeah. It's just when he talks about,
I think also
things, it's like
the stuff that he's focused on, like the Arrow of Time.
Yeah.
Many worlds interpretation. Those are just interesting topics.
Yeah, those are interesting topics. Yeah.
So that's also,
whenever anybody talks about time, that's probably going to get me to watch. Yeah. Yeah, time stuff. I like that. Like when they start really going into time, and multi-dimension will never be able to, you're just like, at least from what we know, there's no way to interact because it's quite literally another dimension. But when you look at like time, and we experience time, and then explaining how time works and where it's relative, that kind of video is usually going to get me no matter who it is. Even if it's, I like Neil deGrasse Tyson too, but at times he has the same issue we all have when you're asked 100 times, and the 101st person who asked you, it's their first time asking, but it's your 100.
They're getting a shitty answer.
They're getting a shitty answer. And I wish I could sit down with Neil deGrasse Tyson and be like, bro, knock it off. Knock it off. Reset your entire brain. This person, yes, they're asking. If they're 7 and they're asking you a question, that means when you were asked 10 years ago, they were negative fucking 3. They were not even a sperm. So they're not going to know that you're, and he'll be like, and you'll be like, come on, Neil, come on, man. Come on. I like Chuck, though. Chuck cracks me up. Chuck is your dad with really bad dad jokes. And so he's so like his, oh, dude. He cracks me up sometimes. Chuck will say something, and You know, you just be like, wow, that is a
terrible joke.
The tamest, and I love it though because they laugh, he laughs. I love that their videos are always laughter. Best thing about it. That's why if somebody asked me who to watch first, if it wasn't like
lighthearted,
Sarah, or if
makes it a bit.
Yeah, if they were like, hey, who should I watch first? I would actually probably say, well, in all honesty, maybe an older one from
good
Neil
place
deGrasse
to
Tyson.
start.
Yeah.
Honestly,
because they're so happy. They're a bunch of dorks laughing.
Yeah. And they connected to pop culture quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's quite easy to get into.
Yeah. Podcasters. Brian Greene also loves Brian Greene. That's true. But I do like the idea that Neil's there. He's like the Mr. Wizard of our time, which is, I realize that's a super long pull, but.
And I think he has a good feeling of what people in the audience are going to understand or not. And oftentimes when he talks to these people like Sean Carroll, he can call them out like, hey, dude, that makes no sense to, to the listener. Let's double click on that. Because very often Sean Carroll will give a big, it's a good explanation, but you would have like 3 big chunky things that were unexplained. And we have no way of knowing.
Wonder. I think with Sean,
a little for sure.
Maybe Sean's a little
maybe a balance, right?
Yeah,
because it gets you excited. When I listen to Sean, sometimes I'll go and look up
I've
stuff.
never done that. I think that's the thing is he doesn't have as much wonder as like Sarah Walker does. So when Sarah Walker's like, her excitement isn't a textbook lecturer with a pocket protector, where Sean's might be that. So it's a little harder for me to like be interested when he's saying sort of the same stuff. Where if I listen to Sarah Walker say the same stuff, I'd probably be fine. Rory will say the same stuff in 9 podcasts, but he'll slightly rub it a little different, And so you're like, oh, dude, he'll have another weird comparison that I'm like, dude, I would have never. I mean, he'll be like, fuck Ferrari. Yeah. And you'll be all, wait, what? Where's he going with this? And then he'll talk for 10 minutes and be like, oh, he's trying to make the same point. He's saying it slightly different, where some science guys, it's just a little harder, But yeah, they're all good. I mean, that's the cool thing. None of them are actually terrible. Do you know who I like? The guy Lex had on, the Russian. He's got the Russian accent, and he's the younger.
Which one was this?
He talks about he talks a lot about the asteroid belt, about the objects in the Kuiper belt and stuff.
Gotcha.
He's a younger guy. He's got a bit of a Russian accent. Talks a lot about inner solar system, asteroids, mining, stuff like that. I'll have to find him. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen the podcast with him, but he's great. He's fun to listen to. He's got a bit of wonder to him. He's got a little bit of like that, not the fake. You know how Neil deGrasse Tyson and Cosmos will be like, I look out into the wondrous void and I see the darkness of infinity. And you're like, Neil, shut the fuck up, man. I hate when Neil ends a podcast. I have to turn it off. I'm like, that ain't going to work.
He goes into that register.
Yes. Yeah. But this Russian guy, I think he's Russian. He was excited about a piece of rock, and he was excited.
Damn.
And he was talking about an asteroid, and I remember and he's like, oh yeah, so in the belt we've got this and that, and there was something and he was able to be eloquent without. Do you know who else is awesome? The guy from the rainforest, man.
That guy,
dude,
Paul
like
Lee or something.
The young guy, he's like 30s, black hair.
Paul Rosalie.
Dude,
he's been incredible.
There's only 4 writers in my life that I've read and gone like, that's a writer. Right.
Yeah.
And yet he also, I'm not saying he talks in the same way, but he does a lot of times. And he was on Joe Rogan's podcast recently. I think he's one of Joe Rogan's most visited now, but I think it's his 4th one. And he talked about the rainforest and the sound in the rainforest. And I was like, what the fuck is going on with
dude,
this?
Even as a Brazilian, I was born in Brazil. I don't give a fuck about the Amazon forest as an interest.
Dude, he's the best. And I read his book.
But it's awesome.
I was reading his book, and I was reading it to my fucking wife. I'm like, dude. So there's I've told you, Altered Carbon, Richard Morgan. He's one of those writers where I'm like, how the fuck did he put that sentence together? That's one of the most eloquent sentences ever. But I read that guy's. I was just sitting at the first page in the rainforest. He was talking about rain coming down.
Was it a book? Or
it's his book. It's his rainforest book. Yeah. It's his life in the rainforest. I'm telling you, the first chapter, you will be like,
I need to
there's
find that.
no chance he writes that well because it just doesn't make sense. And then you hear him on Joe Rogan's podcast, and Lex Friedman went to the rainforest with him, and Lex Friedman saw his notes and saw him writing notes, and he's like, you do actually write like it's the greatest writing, man. You're just sitting there going like, how the fuck? I mean, I know people talk about Dickens or whatever classics. I'm telling you, it's a next level of
Was
ability.
it Mother of God? Is that the one?
Does it have the trees, just like a cover with trees? Well, just look him up. It's the guy from the rainforest, super dark hair.
He's got several. He's got Jungle Keeper.
It's his first
Mother
one,
of God,
whichever his first one is.
Okay, gotcha.
But I'm telling you, one of the greatest writers of all time. Like that guy makes me feel inadequate in all fucking ways, because he's also, half of his friends are dead because they were shot and killed by the narcos that live down there and are planting shit in the rainforest. And that dude is like, dodging bullets, getting MRSA. He got MRSA. He talks about the video where he got MRSA and had to come back to the States to get it fixed. Raised an anteater, wrestles anacondas, and then writes like that. And it's like, all right, so as a human, I suck. I mean, Jesus. Like, what the fuck? All the talent in the universe somehow hit that kid. And he's also an environmentalist that doesn't bother me. Right? Like, environmentalists can be,
Can be a bit much.
Yeah. Where you're like, I'd rather just karate chop you than listen to anything. They just right in the neck.
Like, do we need to piss on like the Stonehenge stones to make a point?
Oh God. Yeah. I wasn't even thinking that, but that's so true, man. Who's the greatest writer of all time? Who knows? It'd be interesting to. I think it always changes.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, if you get a chance, read his book, because I'm telling you right now, you're going to be like, holy Christ, man. I mean, he was talking about an anteater that he raised and her ability to do stuff even. And I was reading it going, what the fuck? Like, it would have been a throwaway comment for somebody else. And instead, he writes this eloquent paragraph that isn't overdone. It is done. It's done. It's like a good chef. It's just perfect, Yeah, you should read it.
I'll pick it up on Audible. I see he's narrated the book. No?
I think that's a read. Yeah,
really?
I would seriously suggest to you, of all the books we've ever talked about, if there's Altered Carbon and that one are probably read books. There is something about the words on the page and how your brain slicks over the words and gets to the end and goes, holy shit. Versus hearing him say it. Also, I think he would deliver it in the majestic trees sort of, you know what I mean? He might deliver it in that infomercial way. I don't know, but I think you should read it. You read anyway. If you were a person who didn't read, then he left the anteater, when he was sick, which was sad as shit. I love that guy. Like, that guy is, dude, there's so few people you find who are like I like video games. Who fucking cares? It's not integral to anything, right? But for life is pretty, it's pretty important. Making sure that shit doesn't get destroyed so we still have oxygen, pretty important. And that guy somehow shows up. Yeah, I hate him now that I think about it. He's way too talented. I fucking don't like him.
Yeah.
Spear Dust.
Just good at everything.
It's whatever one Johnny, I don't know. I don't even remember the name
Mother of God is the one from 2014.
Yeah, I'm sure that's his first one. Yeah. Man. Yeah, that guy is... Dude.
It's insanely well rated on everywhere.
I'm not even a rainforest. Like, I don't, I'm not there. Like you said, you live in Brazil. I'm not there. I don't think about it too much other than I would rather have us not burn it fucking down. And then to be sitting in bed and being like, I have to read this out loud because I feel like if I don't, no one will believe me. And so my wife was like, whatever. And I read it. And she's like, damn, that guy writes fucking and she doesn't like that shit. She likes touchy feely stuff. Like, I'm a person who lived in a terrible place. I was, physically abused. She likes that kind of stuff, like the hard, the person, like autobiographies.
Drama.
Of a person like striving. I lost both my arms in a massive, Husqvarna incident. And then my legs were chewed off by a Laplander. And now I'm here rolling down the hill to give a speech. And you're like, okay, whatever. But when I read her this, she read it. She was like, okay, I'll read that. I think that's a pretty big sign that I read it and that she read it. Let's see. Been watching the podcast for years. Just noticed Carrick's eyes are blue. Kig, are you dressed, brother? Are you dressed? Are they? I thought they were gray. I don't remember. I don't look at my own eyes.
I was going to ask you, I can't tell exactly.
I remember that because when I was a kid, I remember they were one color and they changed slightly to a different shade to where they didn't look the same color.
I used to wear glasses as a kid, and then I stopped needing them.
Oh, because your eyes changed shape, probably. I'm assuming as you grew. Yeah.
Yeah, weirdly enough, I just didn't need them at some point.
You
usually
rarely hear that.
But
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a horrible heart murmur, and they were like, yeah, he's going to need heart. I had a lot of I had hip issues, I had heart issues, and I remember they were, when I was young, my mom and dad were like, yeah, we're probably going to have to do an operation on your heart. And then I went in and they were like, it's completely gone. It's so weird. So, hey, it happens. I would have rather had the good vision, though. That's like a superpower. Because most of the time you see people getting worse because their head shape changes.
Yeah, it's getting worse,
your eyes
not
adjust.
better.
You're like, dude, you're Benjamin Button, or maybe your eyes are, and you're just
dude, imagine if over time we just got
sharper and sharper. Wouldn't that be amazing?
Healthier, and it would.
Dude, that would be awesome and also shitty because I guess if your friends did, they die by attrition, accident.
Yeah.
We've talked about that before, right? Like the idea of being a vampire would suck balls. It's always the romance story. It's like
you get hit by a bus tomorrow.
Yeah.
You're living through eternity with I
don't know if an eternity, what is a bus made of silver? Because remember, vampires, they require specific.
Well, I'm thinking maybe you break your arm.
Oh, still?
And
that would really suck.
Does that heal back if you're a vampire or no?
For sure. Yeah.
It does?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Depending on where you're from, like in some regions, they believe.
If you're the discount vampire.
Yeah, because some you can't cross moving water. And basically all of them are just tied to
a big debuff,
telling
man.
your kids
you can't
not
cross.
to do shit. Nah, it's just telling your kids not to try to cross. You can literally tell where the myth came from by looking at the warning. You'll be like, oh. So, for example, garlic, super powerful antioxidant. It's one of the few things in the world that actually helps human, and it's related to blood and blood thinning. So it all sort of makes sense. Crossing rivers, that actual myth only exists in place with really fast moving rivers. Anywhere else, it's not there. So you're just like, no, okay, that makes sense. They were just like, yeah.
So the kid is thinking, well, if even vampires will get wrecked by the river, I'm not going near it.
I'm not going over the river because there might be a vampire there. It's so weird.
I was thinking the other way.
No, it's actually it's like Hansel and Gretel. Don't trust strangers.
Sure. Just don't go to the forest.
Just don't, And by the way, if there was a house in the middle of nowhere made of gingerbread,
I'm running away.
Squirt a shit. I would propel myself with poop. Imagine if you were out hunting or something. There's just a fucking house out there. And there's a person, I don't like that shit anyway. I went camping one time. They were 30 miles each way. There's nobody here. We saw so many fucking people. And I was like, uh-oh, what does this mean? If we're all out here in the middle of nowhere.
Let's be honest, a witch is living there. There are going to be all kinds of red flags on that sucker.
Brooms just hanging out. You'd be like, nobody has this many brooms. She's got her speed broom, her durability broom. It's like a person with multiple cars. They got their work broom. They got their speed, because we have 2 cars. Yeah, we got the workhorse. Yeah. It's got a lot of miles on the broom. It's rubbed down. It doesn't have any sharp points because she uses it a lot. But then she got the speed broom. She's got the fast broom. And because the ends are shaved, right? And the back, it's shaped differently, like a sport broom. And you're like, yeah, it's probably got a manual shifter, little twig on the front so that she can get it into the fucking third gear real quick. Zombies could be a warning against grave robbing. Yeah. Dude, all these are warnings against stuff. Best vampire film?
Interview with the Vampire, the old one.
Blade.
Blade wins.
That's a cheap shot for Blade, though, because Blade's just more of a, some vampires.
Or Underworld.
God, Underworld was good for various reasons.
It was bad, but it was good.
Man. Dude.
And Kate Beckinsale, probably one of the main reasons. Let's be honest.
She was good at stunts. And so was her, at the time, her husband was good at stunts. So you watch it, and
also,
you're like, they're good at, it plays well. And the werewolves were the lycanthropes. They were so cool in that.
Yeah, they were great.
Lycans, right? Yeah, lycans. It's crazy that the big lichen, the giant black guy, he's the one who wrote. He was a blood. He was a. There's a very specific name for the scientist he was, but he worked on sort of viruses, blood, and blood sciences. He's a doctorate, and the guy with the big voice like this, that lichen, that guy is the writer of the actual series. He's the one who wrote the book. So the second in command of the bad guys is the one who created Underworld. Yeah, very cool. That goes. Have you heard that? When he talks, you're like, there's no way that guy's voice sounds like that. And he
Can't be real.
He does comics as well. And he was at a signing, and the kid comes up and is like, "Can you sign my copy of Underworld?" And he's like, you're like, damn, it's like a rock monster talking. Yeah, Blades, 30 Days a Night was good. Yeah, 30 Days a Night was actually good. Did you watch that one where they were in the Arctic?
No.
That's the one with Josh. He doesn't do a lot of stuff. He did the Western with vampires on HBO. Starts with a P, I think. Not predation. Penny Dreadful. The main actor for
Josh Hartnett?
Yeah. He did the one 30 Days of Night where he's in Anchorage, I think, or at least a town out there that has these. And dude, the vampires, straight up, they're monsters. Like they're not they're not the romantic,
it's
they've
not
got
the
their
sexy, clean.
Tom Cruise is like, hey, how you doing? That kind of shit. They're like, dude, I'm gonna fucking eat you, vomit you up, eat your body again. They're scary as shit. And you haven't seen 30 Days, dude. You need to watch it. I mean, it is scary.
Okay.
I don't know. Maybe you're not into that kind of
30
stuff.
days.
Yeah, 30 Days of Night, because that's what it's about. Is living in the Arctic where the Anchorage where the days turn into night for a long period of time, and that's the time that these vampires come out. Is when it's always dark.
Huh.
Blade made comic book movie adaptations popular. Yeah, it definitely did. Well, Darkman did. I'm just joking. But if you haven't seen Darkman, you're not a good person. Liam Neeson, superhero movie from like the 80s. So good. Did you ever see Darkman? Nah, that's too early for you. Yeah, I wouldn't.
Maybe too early.
It doesn't hold up. But it was like Liam Neeson as a
back in the day.
His only superpower was he got burned, and he found the way to make a disguise that would work for 1 hour. 59 minutes, 59 seconds, and it would melt. But he was burned, and he also couldn't feel pain. That was his only two superpowers, and he ended up taking on a bad guy cabal that had caused his lab to blow up and caused the damage. It was so good.
Base almost the plot of Taken.
Sorta, yeah, sorta.
He's just going after the cabal.
The girl that was in it, his love interest lived. Darkman is so good, Necro says. See, Necro's right. Somebody was trying to use this as an example for some. They're like, man, a watch is right 2 times a day. And I was like, but what if you ask it 24 times? That's the fucking worst accuracy in the world. They were like, a broken watch is right twice a day. And I was like, yeah, but if you're checking it 24 fucking times, that's the worst accuracy in the world. You might
very bad watch.
You might as well throw some bones or ask a Ouija board, for Christ's sakes. The accuracy's still going to be better. 30 Days a Night blew me away in theaters. Ooh, Howard the Duck. Dude, Howard the Duck. I actually know the theme song. Have you seen Howard the Duck?
No, man.
Don't. It's horrendous.
Oh my God. I know the hair. Like, I've seen the lady.
He's in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Leah Thompson.
Oh, Leah Thompson with her 1980s hair. And by the way, in the movie, bro, that duck is trying to get that corkscrew penis into her through the entire movie. It is a weird movie.
Ew.
Yes, he is like hitting on her, trying to bang her through the entire movie. They kiss, but he's got a duck bill. So it's like,
yeah,
duck to dick. Not that way, but like duck bill to lips. It's wrong. It's wrong.
Oh, man.
Then, and the bad guy had a really cool power. Unfortunately, the bad guy is the actor who got busted for a bunch of the questionable shit. Yeah, he's in jail. He was the principal in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I believe, too. And he's in prison. But that was, dude, Howard the Duck was good. I mean, for me, as a kid, wouldn't be good now. I watched Howard the Duck once a day. Oregon Fresh just explained why he's the way he is. Because anybody who watches Howard the Duck once a day
That would explain
a lot. Dude, I feel like I now know I could write his autobiography by just him saying that. That's creepy. What else do we got before we wrap it up? Anything?
I think that's it. Honestly, Fallout wrapped the season.
Oh, did it?
I believe so.
Down. I'll probably watch that this weekend then.
I think I'm missing one episode, but overall, I think it's been a good season. Hard to match season 1 just because of the the surprise factor.
But dude,
it's been good.
I liked 1 because it was Fallout, a post-apocalyptic world. I'm sure I liked the first. I think I saw 3 episodes. I liked it a lot. I mean, it's just I'm not caught up in the canon or it's just like, does a ghoul shoot some people? Does she do some stuff? Whatever.
Yeah, and we get a bit more Goggins.
So if you said number 9 was if you said season 1 was a 9 in a rating, let's say you said the entire season was a 9, would you say this is a 7?
I think it's a solid 8. I still enjoyed it a lot.
Okay, there you go.
And it's got some really nice stuff in it, but it has some pacing issues, I think.
For an entire episode, or just in an episode?
More like throughout the season, there are some episodes that aren't as impactful, where like not a ton happens. They also have a lot more backstory that's told, which is good and bad. Some of it is really good, and then some of it is a bit slow and not Fallout because it's literally from before.
Yeah,
it's
right.
more like.
So in the first season, I did not like the episode where they met Cyclops headmaster and they went in. They hung out in the other bunker. I didn't dislike it. I just felt it was slow and pacey, and it took them a long time. And then it was like, here's a blood sacrifice, and then they're like, you've been banished, and they just cut her ropes, and you're like, what? That was such a turn. There was all these weird little things in that. So I felt season 1 actually had 1 or 2 that were a little like, this seems. But
I would agree.
It's
actually, maybe
thing,
maybe I would also say that was a bit of a weird,
like that episode
sequence.
That
like, whole thing with with that vault, the Cyclops people.
And the brunette, the long-haired brunette, and then them noticing everybody has a mutation after being there for like a full 3 hours. I don't know how they walked through, had a bit of dinner, and then realized shit was weird. It's like, dude, people have like
come on, that guy had 2 noses.
Yeah,
or something.
It was weird. It was like, are you guys? And then I did like that they showed they showed the testing at that facility, which was the chick giving the birth to the piranhas and the piranhas eater.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man. So
that was a cool reveal. Not to I won't say what the reveal is, just in case.
Yeah, it was a cool
reveal. That is a cool thing with the vaults.
Yeah, definitely. It's like watching your pet die. I never recovered from the horse dying in Never-Ending Story.
Oh, I don't even remember.
It was Atreyu and Artak, wasn't it?
Wait, the big flying animal thing? He dies?
No. That's the dragon, the
dragon
lung style, the Japanese style dragon. No, he's talking about the horse because they go into the land of like shit. And it gets stuck in the mud. And
I don't remember that.
Yeah, it's Atreyu and is it Artak? I think it might be Artax. Thank you,
Artax.
Yeah. I like those kind of names, by the way. I don't know why. I actually think that sounds more fantasy than a lot of the shit we get.
Yeah,
Falcor is the dragon.
Yeah.
Dude, that was awesome.
That dragon was creepy as fuck, though.
Scary shit. And when he flies in and is screaming and laughing, and I'm like, I don't know why, but it was Uncanny Valley. Yeah, his ears are open. He's like, he's got the huge smile. I'm like, I don't know why the fuck you think that's cool.
That's the problem. You just put your finger on it. It's not supposed to smile. Why does it look like he's smiling?
When they do and he's got the dog face instead of like a dragon. So what you really have is a deformed dog that can fly as your main
and smile.
That's creepy. Holy shit. And talk.
Yeah.
So you have a talking, deformed, flying, winged dog as your steed. It's a horror movie by that point.
I was thinking about this yesterday. What if my cat or like your dogs could smile? That would be creepy as shit, man.
To wrap this up, you want me to tell you about a nightmare that to this day still, I hope I never have this dream again. I had a dream about 2 years ago. my passed away cat, I woke up, and as I walked into the living room, the cat was on a table, and it looked at me and it said, "They're coming." And this is a cat. And I was like, wait, what? And I think it was like a little bit like Dean Koontz, where the animals are sentient. And she kept warning me that they're coming. And I kept seeing shadows out the window. And I don't know what was going on. But as the cat walked out, it turned back to me and it goes, "Oh, and your wife, she's one of them." And then my wife walked in the room like a movie. My wife walked in the room in the dream. And she looked at me and was like, "What's wrong?" And she smiled with the demon, you know, where the smile goes too far up the side of the face, like
no.
devil's advocate. And I was like, "We fucking out, man," in the dream.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Out.
And I was just like, if the cat's talking, can't really trust a cat that talks. I mean, sure, she gave me a warning, but then, you know, the demon smile was like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
And
evil wife.
It was weird because one was in one side of the house and the other was in the other side of the house. And I was like, well, it's time to fucking, you know, it's time to go full on Armageddon. Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I don't know why it was so scary.
blow up the
I
apartment.
think it was because I love that cat. One of the very few cats I've liked, and it died pretty quick. And I remember just thinking like, oh, I was like that cat. And then it just shows up and it's like, they're coming. She's one of them. I was like, what the fuck is going on? And I was talking to it. Like I remember in the dream going, this is weird. But
that made sense at that time in the dream. It's like, okay.
Have you ever done something like that in a dream and then you wake up and you're like, what the fuck?
How did I
think that was normal?
What the fuck was I even doing? That makes no sense.
Yeah, The Thing too, starring Carrick. Yeah, that was, dude, The Thing's creepy as shit. So, yeah. I don't know why that scared me so much. It was just, and she's a black cat with the little line on her chest, so it was like straight up witchcraft kind of shit.
Yeah.
Too scary for me. Do you ever have do you remember any nightmares?
No, I don't. I haven't had a ton of nightmares. I used to have one repeated one as a kid, many times over, where there was like a predator style alien chasing me, and every time I would be, this was for weeks, and like every night I was dreaming of this. I would be running away from this thing, and it always caught me at some point. And
you can't run in dreams.
And it would cut me up. Like I'm talking about, like,
oh, you mean it
had full blades?
Yeah.
It would get me. It would like mutilate me. You know, like cut off limbs, and like it was crazy. It was crazy.
Had you watched Predator prior, or was this like?
Dude, I don't even know. I think I might have, but I was very young. I must have been like 10 years old or something, and I hadn't seen a lot of, you know, like scary movies at that point.
When it caught you,
I don't know how
you
it got in.
remember when I get hurt in a dream, it numbs instead of hurts?
Yeah, I was completely numb.
Yeah,
but it was this like pit in my stomach because I would look and, you know, like my arm was gone, for example.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you're saying, it's this numb feeling.
I had a dream where I was trying to fight off a bunch of bullies and I couldn't swing my arms. And I was like, it was terrible. It was like trying to run a dream. I woke up and I had fallen asleep and both my arms were splayed out and they were numb. It was obviously my brain was reading that there was like the pricklies that you get from your hands going numb, and it was putting it in the dream. And I woke up and I remember I had to reach over, grab one hand with the other, and I was like, I may lose this arm. Like, dude, there was nothing. I remember pinching it going like, oh my God, like I must have been asleep for a long time. There was no feeling. I was so nervous. I was like,
I've had that before where like I slept on an arm or whatever, and it wakes up like it's just not a part of my body.
Couches are also the worst because one arm you will usually be fine, but if you hang an arm off a couch and it gets caught on like the edge of a sharp, you know, where like your legs are on a couch, you'll wake up and be like, I've lost the use of this arm for sure. Like I'm for sure, it might as well end it all because the arm's their arm's gone. That's my masturbation arm. I can't live. Yeah, dude, it's so weird, man. Oh my God. Yeah, falling asleep and I one time fell asleep and there was a musical at my school and I remember being so enamored by everybody's singing voices, woke up and the same song that I was dreaming about, which was Madonna singing Material Girl. And everybody in the dream was singing Material Girl. I woke up and it was on the radio. But here's what's weird. In my dream, it was about 5 hours. I went to school. The music was playing through the school speakers, blah, blah, blah. But it couldn't have been playing longer than like a minute and 30 seconds because it was in the middle song. And I remember
your experience was dilated.
And that's why I remember going in our dreams. it is so weird how time, and you're not in REM sleep very long in your dream anyway. You know, you go in and out. So it's like, it's weird how time, dilates, and your brain must be thinking so fast, because it was normal time in my brain. In the dream.
I think your brain is popping, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's actually,
it's like
it's running.
It's getting the toxins out, and it's like, let's work this shit out, dude.
Yeah.
I rarely have like the power dream. The occasional times I've had it's awesome. Usually I can't run, can't fight, can't swing. Somebody's smarter. You know, you have those.
Do you have the lucid ones where you can kind
I've
of
had a lot of lucid dreams.
do whatever you want?
Yeah. Usually I'll try to keep myself, like, I'll be like, I think this is a dream. I can do that. Okay. But it doesn't last.
I instantly try to go flying in the dream.
So do I, but man, the couple times I've been able to fly in dreams, the power goes away and I die. Almost every one of the dreams I've been able to fly, it dies and I fall. So like I'll be flying through clouds and along the beach. I've always had a dream in real life of getting, like, you know, the drone copters they're starting to sell where a person can buy one and fly around. You know, they're like the personal helicopter, I guess you'd call it. When I was a kid, I always wished I had a speeder bike. And I always thought how cool it'd be to like ride along the ocean on the beach, because that's where I lived. And I was like, oh, it'd be so cool to go full speed, you know, just sort of fly along this. Every dream that would happen. And I'd be really flying and then fall and crash my neck into some rocks or something. That was also a dream. I was crashed on rocks, broke my neck, couldn't move my body, and the waves kept hitting me and choking me in the dream. And it felt like it was hours.
You were still alive.
Well, when I woke up, I'm alive. I'm talking to you right now.
No, but like when you broke your neck, you were just
in the
still
dream,
there.
I was disfigured. Hanging? I could see my back. That's how bad my neck was broken. So my head was up. I looked down and I could feel my shoulders. But you were still
conscious and everything.
I was still conscious in the dream. And then the tide came in and kept hitting my mouth. And I was like, trying to get above. And then, dude, it was horrible. I woke up and was like, what the fuck? I'm never going to sleep again. Fuck this. Just the weirdest. It doesn't happen a lot, but it's like, or a D&D dream you'll have, which is pretty cool. Have you ever had a dream where you're dating somebody or you're like, or a girl likes you? You'll be flying. Those are good dreams. Sorry. Those are almost worth the nightmares.
Feel good in the moment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like you'll be, I don't know what it would be, like getting coffee or whatever. And
you have this experience of having lived with them.
Yes.
Like, you know, like you have a life together. Yep. Yeah, familiarity. It's like, you know, this is my life.
I was married to Penelope Cruz in a dream, and I can tell you.
That's a good one.
It was...
I always remember her from Vanilla Sky. She had a cool role.
Sahara with Matthew McConaughey, the action one. And I was just like, I had that dream and I was like, oh yeah, let's go back into the dream world. I admit I probably fell asleep a couple times going, come on, baby. Let's get back into that dream world. I've had the repeated dreams about airplane crashes, but I've never had the repeated dream like you did of like a predator. That would be scary as shit. Getting chopped up by the same guy would make me think that maybe there was a guy hunting me in real life.
Yeah, right? Like, dude, I thought it meant something because as a kid, you don't know anything. You're just scared.
And then your mom and dad are like, no, there's no such thing as bad dreams, but you know that there are because your dad's telling you stories about his and shit. And you're like, well, seriously, man, there are monsters in the real world. And you're like, but then maybe there's monsters in my dreams. Parents lie. I'm just saying, there's probably monsters everywhere. Dude, what if there's another set? You know how like when you're a kid, your parents are like, there's no Santa. They'll give you the line of stuff. What if we get to a certain age and like the older people like living in retirement homes just start showing up telling you there's
you can learn about the real shit.
Yeah. Like you're just sitting there going, yeah, I think I haven't figured out life, but I know that, there's no Santa, there's no blah, blah, blah. And they're, some old guy shows up and he's like, there's no nobody, dude. You're alone. There's no universe. You're by yourself.
It's just you in a vat.
It's just you in a yeah. It's just your fucking. Oh my God. They wake you up like in Matrix, but instead of like having a body and dancing in the third one, which was fucking horrible, instead.
And the cute lady from Matrix.
Yeah. No, there's no cute lady who needs to take a shower, maybe. But I mean, she's still. You're like, hey, she's pretty cute. It's just your head, and you look over, or you have to blob over, right? So you have to blow into your own neck hole to move yourself. You have to be like, well, you can't do that. But you have to be, and you blow yourself, and you look out. You blow yourself, but you blow over, and you look over, and there's just all the other heads, and we're being used as like brain batteries by some alien race. They've caught us. We're
not great for power economy, are we?
No,
we don't
we're
really.
Not. Human batteries were needed though. right?
Yeah, would suck.
Like,
Would be
didn't
like
Nioh-
worse than the
Didn't Nioh
the
ruin that for
PS5
everybody? I think
control.
Neil deGrasse Tyson
think-
figured out the batteries, and he's like, dude, we're
yeah.
so
He got
inefficient.
into that, and apparently we're terrible as
Yeah.
batteries.
He's terrible for
So.
ruining the dream. I mean, who wanted
Yeah.
to be
Cheers,
Matrix? You don't want the
Neil.
Matrix. Yeah, cheers, you dick. No, I'm just joking. Nobody wants the Matrix to be real. And by the way, the guy eating the steak was always right.
I'll
Sorry.
take the steak.
He's the
any
good
day.
guy. No, he's the good guy. He's the hero of the movie. He's like, see this steak? I know it's fake. I'm like, dude, you're the hero.
It's
you're
delicious.
The fucking hero.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's like, it's delicious. I can taste it. He's like, I know it's fake, but I just don't care. And I'm like, yeah, dude, you're the hero.
I think we wouldn't. It's the whole experience machine thing. Like, sure, it changes the equation if you know you're in the experience machine. Some people might not be okay with that. But at a base level, if your experience is fucking amazing every second of every day,
I'd stay.
I'm signing up for that.
Yeah, if they showed up and they were like, okay, it's fake, but you can have some money, blah, blah, blah. It's the world that I'd be like, yeah, I'll stay here. I don't want to. I mean, dude, their lives were fighting off metal squids half the time, and then
that looked horrible. That looked terrible
in a cavern.
Everything sucked. They had terrible clothes.
Oh my god, they ate the porridge. Time. Remember the
terrible showers.
They were eating that porridge, and he's
god,
like,
dude.
good, blah blah blah. And I was like, damn, it looked like alien snot.
Yeah,
anyway,
it was horrible.
We're almost at 4 hours. So everybody who got this far, thank you very much. Johnny, what are you streaming tomorrow?
I think tomorrow, doing some League and then Nioh 3. That's what we're doing.
So doing
Johnny
some
plays
League.
live on Twitch.
Yep. Check him out. Subscribe, comment, leave a super chat. Check out Twitch. I haven't checked out Twitch in so long. I don't even, dude, I gotta.
Dude, we should go back to multi-streaming there. I've heard several people mention that.
It's the smart way to do it. I just haven't set it up like everything in my life. I will be doing some reviews. You'll see next week. It's true. You'll be seeing some reviews from me next week, as well as some previews. If you get a chance, check out the Patreon. It does help, especially now with so many patrons and stuff like that. It absolutely does help. Or super chat or subscribe. Make sure you watch the videos. That'll be it for us.
Basil the cat says
Basil the
bye.
cat says hi. My dog right here is saying hi. That's actually why I called it, because he's looking at me with that. Piss.
Same. The cat's like, let's get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Come on.
Peace out, everybody. Have an excellent rest of your week and weekend. It's not letting me into the stream. It's gone so long. The stream is not letting me in. I'll end on OBS. Anyway, yeah.